2026. Let's kick this off officially in spectacular fashion. Here to get the opening ceremony started, please give a warm New Eden welcome to FC Swift and FC Lumi.
We all start the same way. A name, a face, a choice. Then we undock. And everything changes. Some build, some trade, some hunt. Some
Ad starting.
some
We will be
follow.
back in 3 minutes.
We fight. We lose. We learn. We come back. Not everything is lost. We leave something behind. Names, stories, people, and we remember. Because none of us were ever meant to fly alone. Even your enemies, especially your enemies. You can fly your own path. But you are never on your own. This is Eve. We are Eve, as Eve is, forever.
Hello, everyone!
Good morning, FanFest.
Welcome to FanFest. It is amazing to see you guys back again. It was 377 days ago since you were last here in these seats, and it's been great to have you back. Really can't understate or can't even overstate how energizing it is to have you here, how much fun we have with you guys. You really let us do some crazy shit. This is what was like last year. Pub crawl, lots of good stuff. Harpa looking magnificent. And yeah, that was FC Helmar. Well, now FC Helmar up on stage. And that's you guys. And yeah, it is just so invigorating to like celebrate with you all, see you guys making those first connections, putting the faces to the names.
I honestly swear, this is the happiest I have seen FC Orca at all, but
Yeah.
also most definitely since last FanFest. And then this is the smuggest we have seen FC Helmar. Because man, did they have fun last year.
Yeah, you enable us to do so much crazy shit like this. So thank you guys. Thank you for coming. It is so amazing to have you.
So one of the first things you did after you went home from FanFest last year was obliterate each other in Losac. This is one of the battle reports. This is one of the more suitable for work versions of the Waifu Wars, as they were called. And we have brought some pictures of these wars. And
Every
there's
year
many.
you make us say something weird on stage. This year we got it out of the way first. Waifu Wars, thank you.
Appreciate it, guys, really. So everywhere in Losac after FanFest, it felt like every other weekend there was either like a massive dread brawl or some insane escalation where just all of this happened. And then from the Losacers doing crazy stuff, the wormholers didn't want to be left behind, so they also went on to do crazy stuff, matching the freak.
There's
And we
a
know you're
wormholer.
here.
Hell yeah.
I know you don't usually like us talking about you, but we're doing it anyway. So this picture here was taken in Hoth, where the We Forsaken few were affected, but not before a massive brawl.
All right, and then over at Nullsec, a couple of you guys might remember this one, I don't know. Right after they're still in the summer, fresh off of, coming from FanFest and good vibes, the Imperium went to, on the move against PanFam Coalition, ended up becoming called the War of the Ruses. Looked like anything could kick off at any time. This was one of the fights, I think, in KTAC-I, lots of crazy stuff going on. You guys just need to match the freak of everyone fighting in LowSec. As part of that, you guys moved as well. The Imperium moved over from Delve, scuttled the 1DQ Keepstar. Now there's this cool monument that stands there as just a reminder of everything that happened there. And then the next thing that happened, no one really could have expected. As PanFam goes and Imperium and PanFam clash, PanFam announces that they're going to collapse. Closed down, everyone's going their own separate ways, and this thing happened. The Imperium rushed into RTAC A, bubbled everything in a way that we haven't really seen before. This is a shot from the scope. It's really, really majestic, just a modest super cap fleet, just like a normal Rome, right? But there is another picture that we managed to capture that might have gotten edited out of the scope. Figure this one captures like the vibe a little bit better. This is kind of more who EVE players are. I love every single bit of this, so yeah, congratulations. But a lot of stuff happened. Obviously, you did not stop there, right? As PanFam left the drone lands and went all over the universe into many other different corps and alliances, bolstering smaller groups, getting larger groups, even more super capital powers. The Imperium saw its next target in Winter Coalition and went for another attack, this time in the system of Atioth. And yeah, you guys went for it with some pretty crazy strategies. Didn't think Vexors would be this popular, but here we are. Yeah, just another modest super cap fleet, by the way. Obviously, that fight went a little bit weird. You guys brought a little bit too many, not as many that came to FanFest. But yeah, we had to send the server hamsters to a spa for a couple days, get them juiced up, give them some high energy quaif just to get going. But the amazing thing, and this is the part about EVE players that always inspires us, is that despite
this should be better. Sorry, probably tomorrow.
Hours, just a casual 11-hour jaunt after crashing.
It's really like you guys don't have jobs, honestly.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. There you go.
And then you kept going, right?
Probably tomorrow.
Just a couple weeks ago, actually, in ForTac H.
I just want to get caught up on what's going on with EVE Online. It's their BlizzCon.
Somehow. Lots and lots of these.
This weekend.
Vexor producers on Cloud 9. The new Galente president even taking credit for, all these Vexor purchases and builds. The peak EVE experience. Yeah, this is something you guys haven't seen yet, but in terms of scale, geez, guys. 14,000 unique characters in ForTac H and the surrounding areas, because you didn't just go for one Keepstar, right? You could just
There's huge battles called.
So all around
like massive battles. Like you just said, there was a battle with 14,000 people in it.
4,000 cruisers, good job.
Scale is incredible.
I wonder kind of who made them all and how rich they are now.
Yeah, we actually, the Alliance Leadership Panel, we had a couple
They haven't
of
even
people
talked about any new ships yet. I don't know what's going on.
For this war and how they prepared for it. Apparently just buying out all of Jita is a legit tactic. So the builders, you actually facilitate all these great wars too.
But then, after a lot of destruction, there always also is a lot of creation. So let's go through a few. This one is a watercolor painting made by Lloyd George. I can't see you from here, but I know you're here, and I also know that you have a booth just outside in the marketplace. So if any of you guys need something new to spruce up your
Cute
desk,
nerd. We could only be so lucky, dude.
Check it out. And then, I still don't know how to describe this one, but we think it's a super cool image. And also, if you ever do feed an avatar, it is in truly good hands when it falls.
Yeah, just
Exactly.
whenever, if you do end up feeding one, just like be like, yeah, I'm just creating content on the planet. It's fine. Don't get mad. SRP.
And then Christmas ornaments, because who doesn't like a good Eve Christmas ornament? Look at how comfy and cozy all of you are together, just like here in the audience. And also a lot of ship miniatures were made, either 3D printed or they came with the board game. And when I say a lot, I really do mean a lot. So look at this one, for example. These are
Wow.
the miniatures from the Eve War for New Eden board game. All of these are painted by Watson Crick, hand painted. I think I see you sitting over there. Just put up your hand. But the best news for all of you is that on the points cards you got in your gift bag is a little tag that gives you a miniature if you go over to the miniature painting booth, which is all the way at the end of the hall over there. And then we have a painting station as well, so you can paint your own. Plus professionals there to help you if you don't know how to.
And don't worry if you end up making one that's terrible, mine is much worse, so. It wasn't just cool like art that you guys created, you also made some really cool new third-party developer tools. This is one of our favorite new like killboard visualization things for like the big wars. It's got a nice little timeline. We can play it, we can see when a bunch of vectors pop up. Look at all these vectors. Still obsessed, by the way. Yeah. We also have, when we're talking about third-party devs, Eve just doesn't work without a lot of really amazing third-party tools. So make sure to head over to the Sweet Builder Village. There are so many like really cool apps on display there, right? You've got the Squizzes here for Z Killboard, Eve Guru is there, Eve Pandora is there, and Rift as well. So make sure to check them out. They'll show you some of the new things they're planning maybe. I don't know. You can ask them for features. You can annoy them in many, many ways. Just go for it. But yeah, this is one of our favorite new spots of FanFest. So make sure to check it out. You also, classic Eve, you also made some really new spreadsheets. Really, really cool stuff here. This was from the Galente elections. The Arataka Research Consortium Discord got together to break down how the new mechanics worked. And we were just really impressed at how good you got this to look. And obviously a little frustrated that you turned months of work into just a single picture that you could easily master. But that's Eve players, right? They'll figure everything out no matter what we do.
And then you guys also made truly a lot of content. So there was about 20, is that thousands? I can't do numbers.
20 million
20
hours.
million.
20 million hours on Twitch and YouTube combined. So that is 2,282 years of non-stop video. Congratulations. 28 human lifetimes. I'm fairly sure there's people in the audience here who are younger than that.
Let's not bring that up. I feel old already.
And just a whole bunch of Keepstar sieges.
Yep, and also our partners at Just, the video that opened FanFest today was actually created by a person, kekber.net, Stromer. This is part of the ongoing thing that we try to give back to people making content. Just Rewards are amazing at doing this, so make sure to check them out because there are some here at FanFest, where you can share selfies, cool experiences and stuff like that, and a lot has been paid out there too. We also had the Alliance Tournament. Hell yes. It was back in Reykjavik. I found the AT pilots. The finals were from Meta Reloaded and Tuskers. One of the bits of the finals, one of the matches, was kind of insane and unhinged. It was great. Went to reverse tie-dye. And if you didn't get to watch it, this is a little bit of what it looked like. You guys are used to one version of tie-dye. This is the reverse tie. This is like 350% speed.
It looked like the ships might have actually floated a little too far away from each other. That gives it to Tuskers unless somehow can somehow.
Love how weird Eve looks at 6x speed. We won't do this for tie-dye fights. It turns out it breaks the server. But the Tuskers were eventually victorious. Getting another one up on there at the Monarch Monument. Congratulations, Tuskers pilots. CCP Zealous put on the Tuskers plaque just earlier today, or earlier yesterday, so you can go see the Alliance Tournament statue, not the statue.
Trophy.
The trophy, thank you. Mira, if you're in the audience, and any other Tuskers pilots, you can just stop. Two in a row is good, 3 total is fine. There are 5 Pandemic Legions on there. Just get to 4. 4 is fine. Just leave me something.
Or not, you could also just go and break the record.
Don't do that. But it takes a lot to bring the Alliance Hornet to life. There's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that go into it. A lot of your effort that goes onto it as well. Really looking forward to the next one. But you can see this is just a little bit of the staff that it takes to put everything on. There are even more people online and so many players and just EVE tournament nerds up there bringing this thing to life.
So what also happened was the 20th CSM elections. You guys voted in these 12 wonderful people. 6 of them are actually...
Hold on, do I know any of these? Recognize the Oz? So for those of you, if you're a WoW player, I believe what they do is they elect people from the community to kind of be like be able to communicate with the devs or something like that. I think that's what this is. I'm pretty sure that I've got that right. But the players actually elect people, kind of like a union, I guess, to communicate with the devs. I think that's what this is.
Here in the audience with us today.
Pretty interesting.
So give a round of applause to Hyperviper,
I know someone that was running for it, but it doesn't look like he won.
Machiavellian, Oz, Itar, Angry Moustache, and Kashal. And say hi to them.
But the Oz I do follow on YouTube. Couple of the other names look familiar, but I don't really know the rest.
Now we're going to skip over to, I think, FC Swift's highlight of this day, because he finally gets to tell a story he has been dying to tell you guys.
Yes. So when I say that we're obsessed with you guys, I actually truly mean it. You guys are at the offices, you are our telenovela. We love the stories that you create. And if you remember, in Crimson Harvest at the end of last year, we had a new edition where there was a crate at the end. And in the crate was Eddie Blood Raider blueprint. That means this beautiful Moloch could have come out of it. Super small chance. You guys went berserk trying to find it. Yeah, we couldn't tell you at the time how many got into the universe, because we didn't want to mess with bidding wars or anything like that, or get people min-maxing stuff, buying these things, looking for a Moloch. But we were absolutely obsessed with this. CCP Mirage, kind of every morning, CCP Burger. Those are FC Mirage and FC Burger to you. Would swing by our offices every morning and be like, hey, did anyone find a Moloch yet? And we're like, no, wait to see. And then finally, one day, someone got a Moloch BPC. It was a character that was playing EVE for about 6 months and had 11 million skill points. And had no alts, no nothing, was just in a backwater system running missions, doing the event, opens this thing, gets a Moloch BPC, and we're like, oh, holy shit, this is the best story ever. And we're like, all right, what's he gonna do with it? And then for 3 days, nothing. Just does absolutely nothing for 3 days, and at which point we begin to panic a little bit. But he was probably researching the cost of what he had and stuff like that. He figured this out. But to our absolute panic.
I'm not lying when I tell you that, I think all 6 of us in the community area, we were huddled around FC Swift's computer, and we were just sitting there, oh no, is he really doing this?
Yeah, so,
I'm sure you can guess how it ends, right? You're wrong.
Success! Against all the odds, he actually makes it back, makes it through there, doesn't get ganked along the way, no thrashers in his way, gets lowballed a little bit, but eventually sells it for 700 billion ISK, and then goes on the most epic spending spree you can imagine. just starts buying everything. Like he sees a ship that's like in space, like I buy that. That's mine now. But yeah, it was amazing to see. It was one of our favorite stories, and
700
we're
billion.
so happy that we get to tell. We've been like just excited, amped up, waiting to tell you guys this one because it has been just eating at us that we couldn't have told you everything about it. Wanted to make sure he got his stuff and like didn't get scammed along the way.
Crazy. 700 billion?
So more story time. After last year's FanFest, we brought out the Legion expansion, followed by the Legion major update, then followed by Catalyst, and then by the Catalyst major update. But that's not where we're going with this, because I wanted to tell you a little bit about how we bring an expansion to life. And for us to do that, I am going to need you to imagine a tree. So the trunk of the tree, that is Eve as you play it on Tranquility, kind of almost every day, if not every day. And then the tree obviously has branches. These branches, those are where we do our work. Or I say we, I technically mean the development teams. But
the actual people that make the game, yeah.
We're going to take the credit for it now. If you want to know the details on how we do this, you have to find FC Chimichanga, because honestly, I don't know how it works. But how code becomes an expansion. So this comic kind of nails it. So you start off relatively normal, and then you go slightly more insane, and eventually you just give up and pray for the best. So we start off relatively good, right? You have like the normal Caliente election branch, we have the Capsuleer Day one, going slightly off the cuff there with breaking stuff. But then, it just escalates.
We get more and more unhinged as they go on.
My personal favorite is Carrier on My Wayward Son. I also do really like the big-ass turret sites. But the funny thing about these is that we can, based on our knowledge of the producers that we have, we can kind of guess which one belongs to which producer. So I'm going to give you guys a challenge. Based on all the presentations you're going to see this FanFest, we're going to let you guess who wrote the most unhinged ones.
Yep, you can do this at the pub crawl as well. We also have in the audience right now people from all over the world, from 44 different places. It is absolutely bonkers that you all come here on our sometimes exploding little rock in the North Atlantic. Good news, no volcanoes right now. Might change any minute, but nothing's exploding right now.
There is one about Dew, so who knows?
Yeah.
But now for some fun FanFest statistics. The oldest character that we have here with us today in the audience sits over there. So, Active or Fast started playing Eve at 5/21 on May 6th, 2003. Now, that date might mean something to you, because that is the very first day Eve came out, so he's been playing since the very, very beginning.
And then we have our youngest character created as well at FanFest from Eve University, Regine Tildati, born just in the middle of December 11th at like 4 a.m. Thank you for having a sleepless night installing Eve Online. Yes! Woo! And we were so stoked that you were just like, oh, I guess I'll play Eve. Guess I'll just come to FanFest. Sure, yeah, you made the right decision. I'm glad you found your people, and now you're in.
Be gentle, daddy.
Oh no, dude!
What did he yell out?
Well, I guess
Oh,
thanks,
be gentle, daddy. Oh my God, that's his name.
Coming to FanFest.
Oh my God, did they? Hold on. I want to see if they actually announced him as Be Gentle Daddy.
And then we have our youngest character created as well at FanFest from Eve University, Regine Tildati, born just in the middle of December 11th at like 4 a.m.
That
Thank
is
you for having
fucking
a sleepless night
hilarious,
installing
man.
Eve Online.
They
Yes.
got him. That is so funny.
And we were so stoked that you were just like, oh, I guess I'll play Eve. Guess I'll just come to FanFest. Sure, yeah. You made the right decision. I'm glad you found your people, and now you're in.
Be gentle, daddy.
Oh, no, dude.
That is awesome. What an awesome name.
Well, I guess thanks, Be Gentle Daddy, for coming to FanFest. The GMs will be with you shortly.
Now, to make it even funnier, FC Swift's mom here always watches this broadcast, so thank
Yeah.
you.
Oh, here's the alliances
we
that
go.
blob the most. Some of these numbers might change a little bit. This is based on data that we pulled for people who spelled their names correctly. There were quite a few of you who didn't get your names just right, so get better.
Turns out spelling is hard.
Yeah, spelling is hard. But yeah, I'm amazed that Only Fleets brought in over 20 people. Ran into some of the Only Fleets people yesterday. Super fun. Test Alliance, please ignore Tappy in the building. Not defending, doesn't have to defend Sov anymore, no keep stars.
Oh,
Oh, you got one, okay. Well, it might be attacked soon, who knows? But there's a lot of Winterco here, so you're probably safe. And then we've got some kind of surprises for the top three, so you can probably figure out where most of this is going, but maybe not.
So, beating Fraternity. So we have Boss in third spot with 36 attendees. The initiative.
$90.
And then you guys already know it, right?
Yeah.
Getting the attendance trophy for the second year in a row, Gunswarm Federation with 134 that we know of here in the audience.
Okay, didn't expect a squeaker for that one.
Who was that? But we brought some more stats. So we did a little digging, and we looked at the average hours played of all of you guys in the audience in the last year, since last FanFest.
Jesus.
So that is 7,900 hours on average that you've played in the last year.
What?
No, all time.
All
Time. Then there's no way it can be.
It's okay.
It's like, what?
You guys were freaking out for just a minute there. That was worth it.
I think it was totally believable. But still, you guys do know that this is grass, right? And that you can touch it?
I'm glad you guys made it out here.
Well, funny you should say that, because we also looked at our own average.
Yeah, we're not that much better, I guess. Almost 10,000 hours. And you guessed it, we don't know what grass looks like. This is what it looks like outside here. So we just stay inside and play video games. It's the best kind. But completely unrelated, by the way. If you had 10,000 hours to spend, here are some of the things that you could have done. Yeah, maybe 2 PhDs, you know, that's fine. I got a PhD in Jita scamming. 40,000 frozen pizzas, yeah. Some of you might have done some of these while playing Eve, so congrats. But it's definitely worth. This is the best 10,000 hours I could have spent.
All right, now for some extra fun stats that we may have just spoiled a little bit. Sorry, FC Larrikin. Let's welcome FC Larrikin to the stage because he brings more data.
Woo!
Worth?
Hi,
Do you
Fanfest,
agree?
how you
Oh,
doing?
Colt, it's such a good game, man. It's such a good game.
It's been 377 days since many of you gathered here last year at last FanFest.
It's challenging to get into, but once, like, I've just started to, like, basically learn the basics. Once you realize the depth of the game, it's incredible.
Yes, we're going to have a little bit of a look at what's happened since then. So about 6 weeks or 7 weeks after last FanFest, we had the Battle of Lantorn, which happened in the Hemitar system as part of Amar Mimitar faction warfare. In that battle, there was about 3,784 pilots involved. In fact, this is a sort of an animation of the main battle space. Obviously, we're talking about 3D space and we're representing it in 2D. But each one of those rapidly flashing dots is an explosion. The larger dots are usually dreadnoughts and the smaller dots are other ships. This battle was pretty cap heavy. There was over 300 dreadnoughts involved in this fight, 240 battleships. A whole bunch of force auxiliaries and carriers, a Lancer dreadnought, and
Colt, you've never played EVE, I'm assuming?
In total, about 3.2 trillion is worth of value of ships and modules, and was destroyed. But there's actually been a lot more big battles since last FanFest.
It's a really fantastic game, man.
Battles across New Eden with more than 500 players, more than 500 billion.
Essentially what's happened lately, Colt, that is also making it so exciting is they just sold the game back to basically the original developers of the game, or the devs of the game. So it'd be akin to like Activision selling Blizzard back to Blizzard, like the original Blizzard developers. So basically, like, imagine like Activision saying, okay, here, you can have your game back, and then Activision not being involved in any of the decision making and stuff like that. So this just happened like a week or two ago. So everyone's super excited, and they've announced some things that they're bringing into the game that is really cool. Like, they're going to bring in, I guess it's sort of like a newbie starting area. So if you've ever played MMOs in the past where you had like a newbie starting area where basically you could play around in the game and stuff like that and get used to certain basic things without people just coming around and killing you, because that's one of the things that EVE Online has a bad rep for, is that, you know, you create your character, you exit the port, and you get killed. That doesn't actually happen, but people would always be like, well, you know, you start off and you just immediately get killed and lose everything. That's not how EVE actually works. But now they are apparently coming up with it's like a tutorial island in RuneScape. They've got like the starting area for even World of Warcraft. Like, you know, you're pretty safe in areas like the starting zones, like from like level 1 to whatever 20 or something like that. It's the same kind of idea. They had made it so that you were relatively safe in the starting area, but there were still ways to kill you. Now I believe they're actually coming up with a starting area where you're basically invulnerable for a little bit. Like, they teach you the game, or you get taught the game, and then you can decide when you want to leave. I don't know if they announced that in this video. These are basically confirmed rumors before this FanFest started. I'm sure they're probably going to announce it soon. I think people had figured out that they were going to like launch this sometime this summer, I think. So
is destroyed in a single solar system over the course of 24 hours.
But yeah, essentially, Cult, it is basically like a really large, like, space conquest game that involves tens of thousands of players. Like, there are battles that have, they announced it in the dev blog. Okay, so it is official. The FanFest is in Iceland. That's where the game is developed, is in Iceland. So yeah, so they are introducing it. So if you guys want to ever try EVE Online, like those of you that are regular viewers or whatever, I would be more than happy to like teach you the basics. Like, it is such an amazing game. It's basically like a large like space conquest games that has like hundreds, if not thousands, of zones. I'm using zones as kind of like a World of Warcraft term, but they're basically like different like little galaxies or whatever that have planets and stuff like that in them. And you can like basically join alliances that are fighting for control over all this territory. It's really wild, and you can be as big or small in this, you know, sea as you want, like as big of a fish or as small as you want to be. If you want to be just somebody that goes out and like mines and chills and, you know, it just does mining and stuff like that, and that's your thing, then you can do that. If you want to, you know, build yourself up to be this huge like guy that goes out into battles with like other players or even solo, you can do that as well. If you want to focus on crafting, you can do that, but you still play a role, like a little small role in this battle, like one way or the other. Like you're making items or gathering resources that are going to be used eventually possibly in these huge battles. So it is pretty wild. The ecosystem for this game is unlike anything that I think I've ever seen.
If we add up the value of all of those 40 battles, all those 40 big battles, comes to just a little bit under 6 trillion ISK, which is a good effort,
60
right?
trillion ISK.
60, sorry, thank you.
It's a little bit different.
But that actually pales in comparison when we just compare that to the background destruction that is constantly happening in EVE Online. You guys are really busy. More than 1.2 quadrillion ISK worth of blood, sweat, and tears, modules shipped.
And another thing, I know Lando, Cult, you guys are regular WoW viewers. A lot of people, like, they are terrified. They're worried about playing EVE and just losing their ship, and then basically they've lost everything. And that's not how you have to look at it. Basically, I believe the lore is, and I have always intended on getting more into the lore than I have. The lore is basically, imagine like the Matrix type of thing. Like you've got a character, and your character is cloned, and that clone is what is operating your ships. So basically, when you lose a ship, it's not you're not losing everything that you've got. You're losing basically like a bullet, or you know, because you've got dozens of these ships. You can come across these ships really easily. You're not flying one that's too expensive that you would, you know, be devastated if you lost. And imagine you going into battle like with a World of Warcraft character, and you're going into like, I don't know, say like an arena or a battleground or whatever, and you used a mana pot. That's basically the same thing. Like you're not really losing a lot. It's more your pride that you actually got killed. And sure, yeah, you had to actually make enough money to buy that ship, but the ships that you're flying are actually relatively cheap. And if you know the game, it is relatively easy to actually make money to pay for these ships. Like it is relatively easy. So people just need to kind of get over the idea that they lose something huge and significant. There are, of course, more expensive ships that people can fly and will lose, but I mean, it's up to you if you want to fly one of those ships and pay for one of those ships. But some of these ships can be worth thousands of dollars. Just don't fly one of those ships. You're like an immortal superhuman consciousness. I think the average human makes a 10,000 ISK in their entire lifetime, which are the average human makes 10,000 ISK in their entire lifetime, which your guns typically shoot within like 4 seconds. The average human makes 10,000 ISK in their entire lifetime. Like, that doesn't make any sense. But anyways, that's the idea. Like, you're not really losing a lot. It's more pride that you're losing. Oh, the average, okay, the average human, not necessarily you, but the average NPC human, I guess is what you mean. Anyways, it is a wild game. I've been trying to like get into, I'd always wanted to try EVE Online, and then I gave it a whirl like several months ago. Played it for a couple months, really enjoyed it. Then eventually when TBC came out, I was like, you know what, this is the last time I'm going to ever play TBC. I wanted to get back into it. And so I've started playing TBC again. Realized I made the wrong character. I shouldn't have played the Druid. I should have just played a Warlock, but it is what it is. I'm still going to level the Warlock, get it to 70 and raid once a week, but I do want to get back into EVE Online. It's a fantastic game.
And pride has been destroyed.
And I'm really excited about the future of EVE Online too. With the fact that the devs now completely control the game, I'm really kind of excited as to where they take the game.
That's just looking at kill nails. Of course, all of those ships and modules, they had to start somewhere. And many of them started in the asteroid belts. In the same time, in that 377 days, you've also mined over 800 trillion ISKs worth of ore, of ice, of gas, moon goo, and everything else that you've collected. This map here is actually a heat map showing kind of what stars that collection happened in. The brighter the star, the more value was collected there, and the dimmer the star, the less. And we can see exactly what habitats that happened in. About 32% came from high security space, 9% from low sec, 49% from null sec, 10% from wormholes. And if you look all the way out the top there, that's Pochvan. After you've mined those raw resources, you obviously need to turn them into something you can actually use, into spaceships.
Oh, and another thing, for those of you that are from like my WoW viewers, basically everything that is in the game in EVE Online is built by the players. There's a few like starter ports and stuff like that that are made by that were pre-made, but basically all the ships, all the weapons, all the gear, all the ammo, everything else is basically player made. So when you kill like NPC characters in the game, it's not like WoW where you get like a bunch of purple items. You might get like blueprints and stuff like that that will teach you how to make an item, but it's the players that have to then go and get the resources. So just competes. A lot of the stations, multiphasic. A lot of the stations are actually player built, and you can actually destroy them. So like there's been some huge battles.
Barbel 543 just subscribed with
Hey, dude, thank you very much for the tier 1, by the way. By the way, guys, when I do get back into playing EVE, I do have a kind of a giveaway that I do. I won't be doing it tonight. There's some stuff I need to fix with my EVE stream to get it up and running again. But it is basically I give away like 50,000. Is it 50,000? 50 million. I gotta get the numbers correct again, because I think I make about 100 million an hour. So I think it's 50 million ISK I give away per sub. So that would count. We will add that up. So anyways, thank you very much for the tier 1, dude. I appreciate it. Yeah, like basically, if you're a player of any other MMO, imagine all the stuff that you like, all the gear that drops off of NPCs and stuff like that. That's not how it works in EVE Online. Everything that you use in the game is basically player made, one way or the other. And I mean everything, like even the smallest ships, the biggest ships, everything that you use is player made. So all those resources have got to be gathered for it. So there's constantly battles over resources, and there's all sorts of different resources. It's not just mining. Mining's just one example that I use, but there's mining, there's gas huffing, there's all sorts. There's scavenging. Like you can go and explore old, basically they're like archaeology sites to discover stuff. It's really cool. If it isn't the Bears' second most delusional fan right behind the owner. Are you kidding me, dude? The Chicago Bears are going to finish first in the division, probably first in the league, actually. I think this is the year we win this. Anyways, so that's basically sort of what EVE Online is about. And there's no like there's 2 expansions. I think there's always 2 expansions every year. They're going to announce one here. We will watch the trailer because I know they do show it later on. So there's constantly new content that is coming out for this game, and big content. There's also raiding in this game as well. So multiphasic, I know you're probably a WoW viewer. There is raiding in this game. I have not participated in raids yet, but there is actually raiding in the game where you go and fight against. And basically, what raiding in this game is it's basically, instead of like a dragon at the end of the dungeon, like in WoW or something like that, it's a big spaceship that's got different abilities and stuff like that you're fighting against. So it's pretty wild. I haven't learned how to, do all that sort of stuff yet, but it is really an amazing game. And I think a lot of people, they just hear EVE Online, they're like, oh my God, that's that spaceship game where you make a spaceship, you leave the port and immediately get killed. And it's got like this terrible, just this terrible, view of the game around the MMO community, when that's not what it's like at all. EVE is super easy once you have a good group to fly with. It's an Excel simulator. It is. There is a lot of spreadsheets in the game if you want to participate in that sort of stuff. If you want to participate in that sort of stuff, yes. There is an awful lot of like planning and thinking and like having to, like, if you thought like, you know what it's like when you play a World of Warcraft character, and you have to like figure out what your pre-bis is, and basically you just go and look at what somebody else has said is your pre-bis and you follow that guideline or whatever, or there's an add-on for that. It's like that. If you're into that, like into figuring out what your pre-bis is, if you're into that sort of stuff, imagine that times 10. Like, if you're into that, you're going to love this. On Steam versus their own launcher? No, you can get it on either one. It's also free, multiphasic. You can actually play the game for free. There is a monthly sub if you want to activate all the benefits, and I think the active sub, I'd have to look it up because I paid for a year in advance. But I believe it works out to, if you just pay month by month, I think it's $15 a month. But you can actually pay with in-game currency. 30 days is 20, okay. So there is a way that you can actually pay with in-game currency, and I'll be honest with you, it's not hard to actually pay with in-game currency. Kind of like retail WoW. Like, you can actually make enough with in-game currency, and if you know what you're doing, you can make it really quickly. So you can download the game, try it for free. There's never any commitment. Like, they're not going to say, hey, you get 30 days for free, and then that's it. You can play for free for as long as you want. You can even, there's a lot of people that once they've learned how to play the game, they will start a free account, and they'll be able to make enough money to pay for their account and have a fully paid account without ever spending a dime. And it's not actually that hard to do, to be honest. Like, lots of people just pay for their account. So I would suggest download the game. There's some tutorials in the game. Does someone have the link to the actual tutorials? I think my partner code is down below. Hey, Bits, what's up, man? I believe there should be, hold on. I think I have a link. Let me see if I can find the link. I thought I had a link to like all the tutorial videos. And I didn't even know about them until like months after I started playing, and I'm like, why have I not seen this before? There's EVE Wiki, but there's also like some videos that were made. And they're actually not bad. Like, EVE Wiki is another good resource, but there's actual, like, some people want visual content when they're trying to learn a game, and I'd have to. And I believe it's actually made by Academy is. Anyways, if somebody has the link to the actual videos that show you like the basics of like mining or like how to fly a ship, like there's an actual link to all of them. I'm trying to remember where I saw that. But if anyone has that, that would be freaking awesome to have. Let's continue watching the video. And if you guys have any questions, just ask away. And I'll be more than happy to answer, because I think more people need to play this game.
Actually, they get refined and then manufactured. And since the last FanFest, on average, every single day, you delivered 9.8 trillion ISK worth of ships and modules and structures.
Oh, and if you're into graphics, the game is beautiful. Like, it is really beautiful.
Structures and secondary items. In total, it's 3.6 quadrillion ISKs worth of goods. Almost 40% of that value was in ships and ship subsystems. Over 20% was in drones, modules.
So what he's talking about here is how much people have paid on the marketplace, like how much people have spent on the marketplace. And keep in mind, basically all the stuff that they're buying off the marketplace, players have built or made. So, or its resources or whatever it is. All the marketplace is massive. Oh, and another cool thing is the marketplace. There's different marketplaces. So you know how in World of Warcraft, like Horde have their marketplace or their auction house, and Alliance have theirs. In EVE Online, every basically like space station has its own like marketplace basically. So you can actually buy stuff for cheap here and sell it for more here if you want. You can do that sort of thing. You have to like search to find out where, you know, things might be a little cheaper or whatever. And there's actually a huge like industry of people that actually will like trade goods to make money. Like they'll ship things around and stuff like that to make money. I do that, and it's good ISK. It's good way to make money if you know what you're doing.
Fighters and ammunition, 2.6% was in structures. And the remaining 36% was all in sort of materials and secondary goods. That's things like capital construction components and other components that get put in and end up in a ship or a module. And then once you build it, you obviously need to put it on the market and trade it, or buy the raw resources to build it in the first place. Over the last...
What the... Billion, trillion... Oh my God.
377 days, you've traded more than 6 quadrillion, 870 trillion, and some pocket change on the market.
It can be.
And that doesn't include Plex or...
Yes, prices are real market based. So the players completely 100% decide what the market price is. The multifaceted, that is one of the ways that I make money, is I figure out where things are expensive and where things are cheap, and it takes a lot of effort, but if you know what you're doing, you can make a lot. Yeah, in fact, the game's economy has been studied by economists. Like, that's how wild it is. But I warn you though, if you start getting into that sort of stuff, you're gonna start having to learn how to use spreadsheets. And there are actually spreadsheets that are already pre-made by other people for people to use. Alador in the EVE community, I told you guys I was gonna come back. I told you I wasn't done with the game. People are like, oh my God, you're quitting the game. That is not true. I told you I would be back. There are a few items that are traded for risk, but everything else is organic. Yeah. Anyways, it is like, there's so much to this game. Or get dropped out of Karma Fleet. I was told that nobody really ever gets kicked out of Karma Fleet. So, back for a day. No, I will be back regularly with EVE. For those of you that are the EVE viewers, I will still be leveling my WoW character to 70. The plan is to get my WoW character to 70 and then raid log it. And if you don't know what the term raid log means, that means you're basically playing it once a week in order to get through the raids, and then you're not playing it for the rest of the week. That is basically the plan at the moment. So Anyways, let's continue watching.
Injectors. That's just items.
Miss the war, man? I know. I've been busy with real life
this
too.
This is the friendship machine or the destruction machine or both of those put
Keep in mind, before the last time that I played EVE Online, I didn't have a job. I was like looking for work. I was terribly stressed out, blah, blah, blah. But now I've got a decent job. And, you know, in my spare time, I can play video games and not really be stressed out about stuff.
together, right? We go out and mine stuff.
The wars, and yes, I have heard all about the war, though. I have kept up to date with the war.
We turn it into things we can use, we trade it, and then we destroy it.
That's a pretty
But I want to talk actually
accurate
about you. And I don't mean you as in the EVE player, I mean you in the audience, the people right here, right now that came to Iceland. What did you get up to? Well, to start with, there's about 940 of you. Sorry, I'm sorry. There's 940 of you that can spell your names correctly. I've got a friend of mine who's been coming to FanFest for 14 years, and I caught up with him yesterday, and he hit me up and he said that we'd spelt his name incorrectly, and when he went and collected his badge, it had Christy on it. And their name's actually Chrissy, right? And so he's telling me, no, I'm sure I spelled it correctly. And I'm like, yeah, man, sure. Like, if you say you spelled it correctly, I'm sure you did. I mean, it probably wasn't autocorrect or something. But, 15 times your charm. Maybe we'll get it right next FanFest. Together, you've all collectively participated in voluntarily.
So for those of you that are my WoW viewers, this is basically their BlizzCon that they're having right now. It's a big, huge event they have in Iceland. It looks super cool.
Early or not, 338,000 kill mails. Some of you exploded and some of you did the exploding. In total, those kill mails come to 173 trillion IS worth of destroyed value, just by people in this room. But I do want to call out two specific people.
Uh-oh.
First of all, there's a person in the room called Frista. They were the ones that participated in the most destruction of over 10.36 trillion ISK. Congratulations. And lastly, Catherine Harrington, who participated in 7,799 kill mails.
Jesus. A lot of people that they've killed.
Look, I can't wait to see what you get up to between now and next FanFest. But to talk a little bit more about this FanFest, I'd like to welcome FC Lumi and FC Swift back to the stage. Cheers.
Thank you, Larrikin. Note to self, if you ever need a loan or just need anything, apparently pocket change to this guy's nothing.
So let's talk a little bit about FanFest. I'm sure you've all walked around.
They changed
already
CCP
yesterday,
to
but we're
FC,
gonna spell
yeah.
it out anyway. Here is
Again, I mentioned this earlier, but for the WoW viewers, the EVE community is extremely excited because the developers basically just bought their game back. So this is basically the same thing as if like the old original Blizzard development team bought a World of Warcraft back from Activision. Hey, Green Guardian, hey, thanks for the follow, dude. Yeah, it's basically the same thing as if the old original Blizzard team bought World of Warcraft back from Activision. Like that is literally what has just happened. This happened like last week, and it was massive news because you guys know how much Activision has affected World of Warcraft. That's how EVE players feel about like this other company that bought out EVE Online years and years ago. And now this happened it was like a week ago. Yeah, so it was and they've changed their name now. It's no longer called CCP, it's now called FC or something like that. I'm sure people are still going to keep calling it CCP by accident, but yeah, they basically bought the game back and changed the name of the company. Fenris Creations, thank you. Yeah, Pearl Abyss was the people who made Crimson Desert, basically. This was, EVE Online was the only game that Pearl Abyss had that was actually making money. So the fact that they were losing money like hand over fist with all their other products. So in order to make some of that back, they sold EVE Online off back to the developers, who I believe had some outside investors to help them buy it back, basically. But yeah, that's now the EVE developers have full control of the game again. So there's a lot of excitement with the game.
The floor plan of the floor we are on right now. We are in number 1. Number 2 is our second stage, and number 3 is the other big hall where you should really totally go, because it is the most
Deep mind?
awesome-looking
Okay, I'll
place
look
we
at
have
that.
FanFest this year. It houses all the gameplay stations. It houses the EVE history exhibit, as we are calling it now.
Yes.
And it just looks super dope, and you should totally go. But we also have brought some more pictures to show you what the rest looks like. We have a Nittedel. It is on that side of Eldborg where we are now. It is a very comfy, cozy corner where you can do some arts and crafts with our very own FC knitting club.
You know where I went to go look at buying today is the EVE Online T-shirt that they have on the shop, and I was looking at it, I'm like, oh my god, it was like $35 Canadian each or something like that, or $40 Canadian each. But then the shipping was like another $35. I was like, I'm not paying $35 to have 2 T-shirts mailed to me. So I was wanting to buy it. I was like, okay, I'm not spending $100 for 2 T-shirts. I guess I'm cheap.
We have the EVE history exhibit, as I was mentioning. We brought back the Jita station from last year's FanFest, and it is now included in the experience. You get one of these little tubes, you put them in the experience, you have to twist them so you can actually see everything. Go have a look.
Yeah, it's really, really cool to just see
Yes,
all the
C-Mac.
history. We only talked a little bit about what you guys have done, but we can see the whole thing, go through it all, and really interact with it. Then, of course, at the closing ceremony last year, Orca and Hilmar were talking about, doing a Capsuleer Edda, writing the story of Eve in blood from the Capsuleers. They had the swords and everything. Really cool. We were serious about it, turns out. So go up on the 4th floor. If you haven't already registered, you can still go up there on the 4th floor. Donate some of your blood. It's a really small process, just a little quick thing, and we'll turn it into the story of Eve, written in vellum. It's wild. But since you're here, you get to be part of this whole thing. So absolutely make sure to check it out. We were talking about some Watson Crick's miniature painting corner. Make sure to go there. There is a prize for last place, so don't worry. You don't have to be good at this or anything. Turns out there's also a lot of Warhammer 40K.
There is a streamer that
some of you guys are
makes
sterile
3D
good at this.
prints of ships.
It's freaky, but yeah, you can just vibe, paint a cool mecha ball.
Be cool to buy one of those.
And also check out the Eve Monument.
Recognize-
But
oh,
do
there's
be
a couple of
careful when you
streamers
make
in
the
this
trek there. If
shot.
you tell your corpmates that you're doing it, they'll ask for a picture, and you'll be there all afternoon. So just tell like a couple, just tell like the inner circle. And take some pictures. This is FCB and a bunch of the EVE partners who made the trek out there yesterday. Absolutely love to see people at the monument doing cool stuff.
Wait. Okay, I recognize, I don't know, 3 or 4. There's a couple that I... Oh, wait, that's Shad Squatch. He did actually go. Shad Squatch is a good friend of the stream. He's another Canadian streamer. So actually, now that I'm looking at people, I see 6 or 7 people that I recognize. Cool. Oh, is it Ernst on the left? Hold on.
Take some pictures. This is
Oh, there he is. I didn't recognize him with a beanie on. Yeah, there's several that I recognize. I'm kind of iffy on the names at the moment. Like this guy here, I watch him. I can't remember his name right now, but he's always PvPing. He's super friendly. Chad Squatch, who's been super friendly with me in the stream. There's a couple people here. I don't this I recognize. I'm trying to remember his name. He's a British dude. I think he's British. If it's who I think it is. Is Urs in color? Is he actually streaming in color now? Let's see who. I don't see Mad Rambo. I don't see Joe Lost. I know they're there. Either of them in this.
SCB and a bunch of the EVE partners who made the trek out there yesterday. Absolutely love to see people at the monument doing cool stuff.
No, actually,
Oh,
before
you see him in color now, yeah.
I'm going to talk about this sheet, we have had a very last-minute request to tell you guys about a tournament that is about to happen in Silverback. That is the experience room that we were just talking about. If you are there between 12
Oh, hold on. What is this about? This guy here, we're gonna watch if we have time because this is a long video. Holy crap! I don't know if we're gonna get through all this tonight. But Warlock Industries, another person I've sort of gotten to know. He makes amazing content on YouTube for like WoW battles and stuff. He's really does a great job. The Oz, I follow him as well.
very last-minute request to tell you guys about a tournament that is about to happen in Silverback. That is the experience room that we were just talking about. If you are there between 12 and 2 today, I'm praying I got these times right.
Yes, it is between 12 and 2.
Great. If you go to the Frontier gameplay station, they are going to host a little tournament of their own. So please do go and check it out.
Yeah, you'll see the Frontier station. It'll say Frontier. There'll be a crazy statue that's there too. Gigantic monitors, cool racing chairs. They've got a really neat experience to show off some of the Frontier controls. It's very different from EVE, so just check it out. Maybe you can win stuff.
Now, about the rest of today, obviously we are here right now doing the opening ceremony. We are going to be followed by the Oz, market guru that all of you have probably heard about. And then afterwards we have a guest speaker, Paul M. Sutter, who is going to talk about how to die in space, topics we are obviously all experts on. And at 1, we welcome the President of Iceland, Halla Tómasdóttir, to the stage to introduce a chat from FC Helmar and Adrian
The President
Bolton,
of Iceland is there?
Fun fact, Halla Tómasdóttir.
Yeah, I don't know where she's from. She could be German or something like that too. I don't know who she is. But the President of Iceland is at this event? Wow. Could you imagine if she was an EVE Online player?
Is not the first President of Iceland to come join us here on stage. In fact, ever since we've been doing FanFest, we have had every President of Iceland join us. Because they just like you guys so much.
It might be one of the biggest events in Iceland each year, to be honest. Like, what other huge events does Iceland? This is how ignorant I am about Iceland, but I mean, this is probably a big deal in Iceland. Have all these people suddenly show up to the town?
As it turns out, our serious business is serious business, and there's also like an election coming up soon. So it's just like.
And like by soon, we mean tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it is a small miracle that she had made the time for us. And then on Saturday, we have a lot more, if we survive the pub crawl, that is.
Yeah, it starts with the Vanguard keynote. We'll also have nice Vanguard fans. Hell yeah.
Oh, okay. I just Googled this. The population of Reykjavik, I'm pretty sure I nailed that. The population of Reykjavik proper is approximately 139,000 people. So it's not a very big city. This is probably a really big event in their city. The capital region, so Greater Reykjavik, is 250,000 people. That's not a huge city. So this is definitely probably a pretty big event there.
We'll have also more information about the Capsular Edda. We actually have a hematologist, Mark Crowther, coming to talk about it, talk about how crazy it is and how we brought this whole thing to life. We are absolutely crazy, but you guys enable us every step along the way. Thank you. The Evolving Empires, we have some stuff about the narrative sides of EVE as well. Some people owe FC Diegetic a beer. This is a great time to give him one.
Wait, FC Diabetic? Is that his name?
The team that kind of carries us through the dark.
500? Is that all? Any? The population of Iceland is 400,000 people. I don't know why I thought it was more than that, to be honest.
Dark times.
I thought a couple million, maybe. I don't know.
Whenever we do something that people don't like, luckily our team comes and saves the day. They'll be giving a really cool presentation. Then we have the Frontier keynote starting at 2 o'clock. That's going to be a really cool one as well. And then we have Redacted Expansion Unlocked. During the keynote later today, you'll learn about the expansion that's coming. They'll give away a lot of cool deets. CCB Okami will be there chatting about it, CCB Rotati, CCB Burger as well. And then we'll unredact this for tomorrow so you can know what we're talking about. And then, of course, the closing ceremony. Jotun and Zealous will be here, just celebrating it all up. But that does, even though it is the closing ceremony, there's stuff after that too. There's a party at the top of the world, and something that we're starting for brand new this year are the Creator Awards. People who make third-party tools, write blogs, live stream, make YouTube videos. We want to have an award show for them. You guys nominated a bunch of incredibly talented people, so we will, bring them up on stage, hand out some awards. Convict will be there. He'll look dashing as heck, and yeah, it'll be dope. But the most important thing to do, even if you miss all of these, just hang out with your space friends, have a good time, meet some new space friends. That's what FanFest is really, truly all about. And also just bug some devs. We love talking to you guys. So feel free to just pull anyone aside. Tons of opportunities, whether you're doing the pub crawl, the gourmet crawl, or just wandering around the city. When you guys come to Iceland, you truly invade the city. It's our favorite time of the year. And once again, give it up for yourselves. Thank you so much.
Who phone to use when they're choosing a partner that checks? What?
Right on. So right up next.
Oh, you're talking about Iceland does? You ever when they're choosing a partner that that is actually pretty funny.
This is the Oz. Don't go anywhere, or go up there, stretch your legs. Don't get a DDT.
I've heard, if there's any Iceland people in chat that can confirm this, I've heard that it is very typical for people to have it is very typical to have sex before dating in Iceland. They basically try before you buy. I remember watching a series. It was on the differences between Scandinavian countries or something like that. And for some reason, Iceland was included in this, even though I don't think they're quite considered Scandinavian. But apparently, they're very upfront with the fact that they're okay, let's go have sex and see if we get along, type of thing. It is. Need to take a visit. Yeah, we're all going to FanFest next year, right? That's where we're all going.
Go play some Eve, and we'll see you in FanFest again. Thank you.
Happy FanFest.
We better start hitting the gym, boys. We better start hitting the gym. Okay, so what?
We're back, ladies and gentlemen.
We're here.
To FanFest.
Live from FanFest.
We're here.
How's it going, guys?
Yeah.
Welcome.
We got your hosts, Loru, Dak.
Hey, for those of you that have watched this, what else is there? Shall we continue watching it? Is there a lot? There looks like they go through a lot. This is
and we're here.
BlizzCon basically, so let's just keep watching.
The Silverberg.
I think I nailed it.
Elvish is getting strong.
I think I nailed it.
I think so. Yeah.
FCB told me to roll all the R's.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Okay. Many consonants.
Many consonants, and we're here.
A lot of spreadsheets.
We got a lot of legit 4-4 behind us.
If you are in Jita right now in Eve, you're right there.
We can see you. We can
Literally
see your
right
apartment.
Now. See there?
We can see you fitting your ships. Good job.
It's super good. Yeah.
It's fantastic. FanFest has been great so far.
I want to see what they've got planned for Eve.
So many things
basically
going on. So much to see and do. We have a tattoo booth again. We've got Vanguard. We got Frontier. We got Eve Online. And if you just care about,
and if you're new to Eve or thinking about playing, this is Loru. He's
maybe getting your.
Is he the biggest content creator for EVE Online? I think he might be. I don't know of anyone that's actually bigger than he is, but Loru's One of the bigger ones. He's got tons of videos out on how to do different things in the game.
Favorite game
They're
face
Lurmurth.
tattoo. Not for me. Not for
People
me.
just call him
You know
Luro.
what? As a man of
And
the
then this guy
blaster,
here is
on my
he
left, you
basically
guys
is a
can't
PvPer. That's what he does. He
see it,
goes
but I
around and
can.
just
There is the tattoo area. I was super tempted
super
to
friendly
get
to watch
something
on stream though.
around about Void or no,
The
depending on
that
the
toxic
range.
guy.
So I was super excited. I can't believe it's here. We got asked many months ago to do anything with this, and it's here.
It's
Honestly,
here.
It's insane. I'm really excited.
I'm excited to be here. There's so many people walking around. Toxic and I got flown out to London a couple weeks ago to see E Vanguard and to see the stuff that we've not been able to talk about on the.
Are you guys are you guys really interested in Eve Vanguard? I think they've got to tie it into Eve still. I think they've got to figure out a way to tie it into Eve Online to make it really kind of work.
Walls. I don't want to slip up. I'm not. Don't worry, FC Collins. I know you're watching. We're not going to say anything yet. We're going to let you have all the thunder. Thank you. It's right over here. Y'all can see all the new Vanguard stuff. There's new Eve Online stuff as well in the Silverberg room.
The Silverberg, yes, it is.
I can't say yet. We're going to talk about it. So far, one of my favorite things is just seeing the sheer amount of community, the sheer amount of people showing up, all the different alliance representation, Maybe there's a alliance with a lion symbol somewhere. You'll have to find it. There's flags all over the place. We got to hang out with all the people last night and had some good food too. We had some
I got to
ribeye
meet
last night.
so many Alliance members through this. The upsetting third for Boss.
Apparently
Honestly,
food in
I was kind of
Iceland is
expecting the amount of amazing
expensive.
Boss pins walking around. I was like, you know what? It could be there. And then as a man of the initiative, I was very happy about second, of course, right? So, yeah, it's like, it's amazing at FanFest. The last time I was here was
Doobie,
many,
what's up,
many years
man?
ago, and the production and everything surrounding FanFest is amazing now. So
Every year it feels like it keeps getting better, you know?
yeah, exactly that, yeah.
Yeah. Every year we keep seeing more improvements to the
For
actual
gold selling, you think I make enough
We see
gold
that
in WoW
not
to
just
sell
for
gold?
the live stream enjoyers, but also for the people in person. We're on the second floor of Harpa this year. We got a little bit more room to roam around. We got a couple.
This is like EVE Online's BlizzCon, basically. So I'm just kind of watching it, getting caught up in what's going on in EVE Online. We'll still level that Warlock to 70. Don't worry.
Stations for the Eve board game is here too. All the minis.
Oh, the card game.
The card game.
The card game. I was so excited.
There's an Eve
Gotta be
board game?
careful, you know. Okay, so there's more new stuff over there. But if you guys like Eve minis, if you like painting minis, if you're at FanFest, my goodness, there's a whole station where you can paint stuff out, and then they have like a. Did you see the photo booth for the minis?
Yeah.
Like a little box. You can do like a 360 something. That's awesome.
I wish I was any good at painting, then I would love to do it.
Yeah.
But it's a bit above my pay grade. But, you know, oh my God.
It's just an awesome spot. We're having a great time.
That toxic
every
guy
single
destroys
piece
ships. He doesn't
around
paint them.
here has been catered for you, the players, to enjoy whatever aspect of this game, this community that you would like. Board games, FPS, survival games, and yes, EVE Online is all over the place. So I really love that in the opening ceremony, and you can see the devs feel the same, because they feature the players, the oldest player, the youngest player, all the alliances. I love that Swift talked about how they had to edit a certain photo for the scope. Okay, that was, we all saw what we saw. That LOL and bubbles, though, will live in infamy, you know?
Oh, when I was, obviously Bjorn is off camera, you can't see him, but when that Moloch BPC came up and we found out it was in the Emperor, the sheer panic that went through both of us when we realized, wow.
I want to know what that guy was thinking, you know? Like,
there was
did
no
he
way
plan
he
that?
knew how much
No
it
way
was
he knew.
worth. No.
I don't think so.
I can't believe it.
You know, so. And we've got a lot of representation on this stage from all aspects of life, from the mostly PvE to the mostly PvP. I'm not, you know, if that guy Toxic gets void ammo above his eyebrows, I'm not going to be surprised. So,
You know, as a man of the brawler, it is kind of just keep it range 2.5 and relax. So, you know, I wouldn't say it's skill, but it's enjoyable. So.
If he gets void ammo, I'll get code Loru, and then we can have a great time. It's going to be fantastic. So
Code Loru, yeah?
Of course, come
Of
on.
course, okay.
Come on now. So, no, FanFest has been awesome so far. It's been one day.
I know. It feels like it's been forever.
You know? We've been having such a great time. This is one of my favorite things about coming here, seeing all the different cliques, the different friend groups, just hanging out and having a great time.
Oh, yeah.
You know, even my alliance is here this year. We'll see y'all more soon, you know. It's been great. I saw some, speaking of Triglavian stuff, did you see the Triglavian cosplayer?
I did. Full helmet.
Hibernate armor.
Looked really, really good. Yeah.
Looked sick. I don't know how much 3D printing he did, but it looks like he did a lot. So, you know, there's something for everybody at FanFest. We're really just seeing the more we walk around, it's people that just want to hang out, you have your space. People that want to be with your buddies, you can come to Harpus, see the ceremonies, and then do your thing. People that want to like paint minis all day. We were touring around. There was the same like 3 people just painting their Caldari ships, big chilling. So, which free ship did you get? Because you can get free minis over there.
So obviously, I wanted the Exec Navy. Okay, it was not there. I did look at the Vexor, but it was itty bitty. So I had to go for a lovely Megathron. And then my partner was with me, so I got to steal a Brutix as well. So, you know, why not?
Like void ammo. Come on.
Yeah. Come on, man.
I just picked one up at random. I think it was the Rook. I couldn't tell if it was the Tech 2 or the Tech 1. I think it was the Rook. So
yeah, I would say it was the Rook.
So, yeah. Blackbird, whatever. I really, really like those ships specifically, so that was really nice. We use those a lot in the Frye fleets, you know.
The Frye.
Oh, you know. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, when we do more coast streams, we'll have to keep yeeting stuff.
Oh, yeah. Every Friday from Jita.
Yes,
yeah,
man.
100%. I love it.
This man yeets.
First time last week doing an interceptor fleet. Oh, it brings back the Zarvox days. Some of you in the chat right now
Or to like go to the next presentation.
A legend of Eve, and especially streaming. So.
Yes. And if you ever want PvP excellence, chat, it's that guy Toxic. You know, when people come into my channel, well, it's well deserved. When people are like, hey, what can I do for this ship PvP? I'm like, have you heard of that guy Toxic? Like, I could give you a fit.
Have you heard of Loru's tutorials on YouTube?
Come on.
The man himself. Code Loru. Okay, well, here
Code
we are.
Toxic.
Yes.
Is it Toxic?
Yes.
I think so.
It is me. That is I. That
We're
guy,
happy to be here.
Toxic. I wanted to point that out.
Ooh, sorry.
Yes,
That guy
yes,
Toxic.
Do we jump forward to the next
Chat.
presentation?
We got so many things more, and the reason why I'm like pausing before I talk. Those that watch our streams, especially the recent co-stream, know that I'll just keep talking. I'm being very careful because to our right,
He just keeps
to our
talking for
left
another 8
are
minutes. So
the things that we are NDA'd about. And I'm like blinder.
okay, next.
I also.
Oh, this is Oz. So we were talking earlier about.
Right, so.
We were talking earlier about how massive the economy is. This next guy coming up, that's basically what he's known for. He's like the economy guy. He's a content creator, but he runs like a show every week or whatever where he talks about the Eve economy and stuff like that.
Yeah,
right. And we're going to wrap up soon. Such a simple thing.
Yeah, I think they were telling him to hurry up.
IGN command was made by an Eve player. Okay, something that we all use. You guys are using it right now. At the moment you said
I'm sure,
I can't see
yeah.
Twitch, but the moment he said it, I'm sure that it's just nothing but
Exclamation
IGN
IGN
command. So make sure if you see Lumicode, shake his hand, say thank you, because he maintains these stuff. You know, he's the one who actually does this. So, yeah, there's so much at Eve Fan Fest to check out, to look out. So, and
none of you even did it.
Continue. We're about to wrap up. We're going to go back to the main stage in just a moment.
Are you guys paying
as we
attention?
Wrap up, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for being on the live. Thanks for coming around and saying hi behind us. When we go watch the VOD, there's going to be so many people.
I know. I'm looking forward to it.
Yep. So thank you for being here, Chan. It's good to have you. It's great to be at FanFest. Let's have a great couple days. Keep on checking out the live stream. We've got a ton of value coming up for y'all today. We're about to wrap up, so
enjoy Oz
very much.
Dude, Oz is coming up. I'm interested to see.
Yeah.
Just he's talking about
a couple seconds. Yeah.
A few things. Right.
Thanks, guys.
Much love to you all.
Talk soon.
I'll see you in a bit. 07s.
New Eden is all about the markets and what makes them move. Please welcome the leading authority on Eve's economy, the Oz.
All right, FanFest. Let's go. So good to be here. Thank you all for coming. You all know EVE Online has one of the most complex and amazing economies in gaming. Probably the most complex. It's what drew me.
There's nothing even close to it. It's not even probably. There's nothing that even comes close to it.
20-something years ago. I'm very old. And it's what keeps me coming back. Today, we're going to go about what drives these markets. We're going to talk theory. We're going to talk some drivers. And most importantly, I'm going to show some epic stories of events that you all may or may not have taken part in that influenced EVE markets. Before I do that, I want to quickly introduce myself. Some of you may know me. Some of you don't. I've been playing EVE since 2004. I'm heavily involved in economy and trading. So much so that some of you say that I don't really play the game, which is fine. I do. And most of you are just bitter I took your money, I think. I'm on my 3rd term as a CSM, and unfortunately my last, so I will not be returning next year for the CSM. And I've been streaming Twitch, EVE online content on Twitch since 2019. I have a Discord server with about 7,500 trading nerds, and I created EVE Online's largest investment fund, public investment fund. I don't know what it is, but
Wait, is this in-game, this public investment fund?
people keep giving me money, and I invested in the markets. Unfortunately, for the last 3 years as a CSM, I have a lot of insider trading knowledge, so I have been pausing them, so look for it to come back next year. I also wrote the case for the Excel Esports World Championships. Now, some of you have heard the story before, and the rest of you have a lot of questions right now, and I want to answer them. So first of all, of course, yes, Excel is an esport, all right? I don't know why you're laughing. It's an esport. It's a very serious esport. And the end boss of that World Championship.
He's like a huge economist. He plays the economy in the game. That's basically what he does in game cult.
Is EVE Online.
And because EVE Online is known, like notoriously known as like just having this wild economy in the game, like that's what he focuses on. He doesn't. I don't know that he participates in a lot of PvP or mining or anything like that. He focuses on making money in the market.
Of course, and me. So, in summary, if you look around the room and you see quite a few nerds here, these nerds, they call me a nerd, all right? Just to make things clear. I want to start with comparing EVE Online markets to the real world. Because a lot of times we look at these in-game economies and say, oh, you know, it's so realistic, it's such a cool simulation. And that's true. It's a very complex ecosystem, but there are some very distinct differences. In the real world, you know, the markets are designed to be very stable, and in EVE, they're not. There are no guardrails, no protection, there's nobody stepping in to save you, and this makes EVE one of the purest market environments that you can find out there to study. That's why so many people inside and outside of EVE are interested in the markets. So just to compare it quickly, in the real world, we have central banks, right? They step in if things get too wonky. They live to stabilize the economy. In EVE Online, we have CCP. We have Fenris. Yeah, I created this presentation, and then they changed the name. It's really not my fault. But they have no obligation to, and honestly, they don't. Most of the time, CCP does not step in to save the markets, because this is supposed to be a very pure, player-driven market. In the real world, insider trading is illegal. Mostly, unless you're related to a certain president, but I won't go there.
Whoa.
CCP,
Whoa.
I promise that's the last political joke I'll make. I try. In EVE, information in insider trading is everything. So most of us that are trading in EVE Online, all we're trying to do all day is get more information that you don't have, to get better information, to get insider information. So it's a very, very ruthless market environment. In the real world, we have large institutions that move the
I don't think he's Icelandic. I don't know where he's from.
Governments, you know, large institutions. The EVE Online economy is almost completely player-driven. So yes, we have corporations, yes, we have alliances, but the individual in EVE Online has massive impacts on the markets, which is what makes it so exciting. If you want a loan in the real world, you go to a bank, right? Banks don't exist I know a lot of you want banks to exist in-game, but they don't exist in-game. And so the entire liquidity system is player-driven. There's 2 or 3 systems that I know. Goonswarm, Hyperwiper, I'm looking at you. And Angry Mustache, I know you guys are running some sort of internal loan system. And I give out loans, but in the end, it's all player-driven. In the real world, data is very expensive, it's fragmented, it's very difficult to get perfect information in the real world. In EVE, actually, it's a very level playing field. So the market data is almost instant, it's 5-minute delayed, but we all have the same data and we can all use the plethora of APIs and apps that are out there to analyze the markets. And lastly, in the real world, risk is mostly managed and diversified. So most investors in the real world try to diversify, and catastrophic failure is typically very rare. In EVE Online, typically it's not very diversified. You can diversify, but I don't know any large corporation or player out there that hasn't lost a large chunk of their wealth several times over. So in summary, it's not that EVE is unrealistic, it's what a market would look like without protection. Having said all that, we can look at what actually moves EVE markets, right? And I've split this up into player-driven and external influences. So if we're looking at player-driven, we all hear about those massive battles. And of course, they have impacts on the market because we have demand spikes, certain ships and modules increase in price because of wars. More importantly, we have focus shifts. When we have a war, the trinity between crabbing or mining and destruction and production gets shifted a lot because in the real world economy, we have a much more distinct split between who does production, who does mining, who does destruction. In EVE Online, those lines are very blurred. And so we see a focus shift from crabbing or harvesting to destruction and production. We also have logistics challenges, let's call them that. Some of you may not know that these large battles that you see, they take incredible supply chains and logistics efforts to happen. Days, sometimes weeks, are spent moving ships from one end of the galaxy to the other end of the galaxy, and in war times, this becomes a
Rhea,
huge
what's up?
Skill and differentiator between the large alliances. And so, of course, conflicts massively impact the markets. We have politics and migrations. Alliances rise and they fall, right? We've seen it very, very recently with one of the largest alliances falling. We'll get to that in a second. That makes markets relocate. So a lot of the markets trading that we are talking about is happening in JITA, but each of the large alliances, as you know, has their own trading ecosystem, and these shift around. And also, we see assets, I wanted to write stolen, but I felt like stolen was not good for the main stage, so let's say redistributed, right? But we know there have been some massive corp thefts, right? And sometimes, in the case of what happens a few years ago to the Imperium, has massive market impacts in terms of implant prices if they get destroyed, or entire corp wallets that are stolen. There are some external influences as well that impact the markets. So oftentimes, the biggest impact that you can see on a market is expansions and patches. As you can imagine, in EVE Online, unlike the real economy, you have completely new resources and items that enter the game on a regular basis. And I think most of the profits, outside of maybe skill extractor sales, happen on patch day, because we see new materials coming into play. We see new bottlenecks emerging in industry, and also sometimes we see industry taxes change or fees change, which change entire supply chains of profitability of certain items. And then we have monetization events. So, sometimes as realistic as EVE is, or as pure as EVE is, sometimes we have sales. We have skill extractor sales, and these, we have Plex sales, we have MCT sales. So these all shift demand from future to today, and that's where a lot of the money is made in the EVE markets as well. And I'll share some specific examples of these in a second here. And then external events, of course, sometimes we have entire communities being blocked from playing EVE Online because of real-world conflicts. We have meme fits, we have streamers doing crazy stuff on Twitch, and this all moves the markets as well. There's one on the left that I haven't talked about, and that's player psychology. Because you take all of that together, and if you've been following the market like I have for the last 6 years, you see that panic and overreaction is probably the most predictable thing to happen in the EVE player base. So we were talking about earlier about vexers. If you talk about the large alliances, most of what is destroyed in these big battles is already replaced before you go into battle, right? Most of this has already been produced, is sitting there, and still you're seeing prices spike all the time in JITA because most of it is just speculation, panic buying, people saying, is there something happening? I have to be part of it. And most of those people are just losing money. Let's talk about some events, right? So you might have seen this map on Reddit. This is if not, it's a fantastic read, right? This is a representation of the high-sec trade hubs in form of a public transport map. And there was, on the left there in the middle, you see I can actually point to it there, right there. It's a system called Niarja, right? Before the Triglavian invasion, it wasn't a very famous system, but it sits right between JITA and Amar, the two largest trade hubs. And during the Triglavian invasion, the system of Niarja was threatening to fall because it was invaded, and players could decide, should we defend it or should we make it fall? And long story short, this is EVE Online, and if you haven't, if you're new to this community, we're all nice in person, but it's kind of ruthless in game. This is an Alliance Discord message. I'll just read it out real quick. All right, I'm going to say this once. The coalition directive is to secure Niarja. If we lose Niarja, we get 35 plus jumps added to high-sec logistics routes. That means more expensive doctrine ships, more expensive modules, more expensive raiding ships, et cetera, et cetera. Very clear, right? The coalition, very strong. We're going to defend this. This is EVE Online. This is a tweet by somebody who we apparently don't talk about anymore. But I had to show it. This is for illustrative purposes. Broke the galaxy in half today because redacted you. That's why. So apparently, half the galaxy decided to defend, but a pretty sizable group decided that Niarja was going to fall. And so this is PC Gamer. Yeah. This is a quote from PC Gamer. EVE's economy thrown into chaos as some players help alien invaders conquer key star systems. So before
they were actually helping the NPCs.
I think the panic was big, as you saw by that coalition Discord ping to their entire alliance. That trade route was connecting the largest trade hubs for 15 years, and suddenly they were cut off. And
this is like the great thing about EVE Online is the players are literally dictating what the storyline is. So if you're new to EVE or whatever, essentially what happened here is there was a PvE event basically that came in where there was some alien invaders or whatever, and they cut off like a trade route. So a bunch of players were like, okay, well, we got to go and reopen this up, otherwise things are going to get like really expensive. And a bunch of other players decided, no, we're gonna grief these people, and we're gonna go and help these NPCs to kill these other players to keep the trade route closed and just fuck these people over. Like that, you can literally do stuff like that in this game. it's pretty wild.
The length of jumps went from 10 jumps to 46 jumps from Amar to Jita. And there was serious fears about the future of trade in EVE Online. I wasn't that scared back then. And to be honest, yes, of course this has impacted some groups that live in the area, and it has increased some logistics challenges. But the EVE economy is so efficient that this had really no long-lasting effect on the health of any of these markets. If you look at these numbers right here, you see pre-Niarja 2020 spread between in trade volume between the three largest trade hubs, the Forge, Domain, and Dodixie. Nobody is in Dodixie. And you can see that, if anything, the trade volume is actually bigger now, right? So this didn't kill trade. But what it did do is it increased margins. So today, Amar is much more its own independent trade hubs, and the margins are much higher between, if you're looking at prices in Jita versus Amar. But it's also created a local ecosystem of mission runners and other content that it happens around Amar that people take advantage of. And that's why they trade in Amar now. To make it even more clear, this is a graph that a user by the name of Hatch Nacy posted on the EVE forums, and it shows the distribution between trade volume among the secondary trade hubs, the ones I just showed you. And you can see that, you know, Niarja is, this is where Niarja fell in 2020, and, you know, this is a period of time that we don't talk about. And then here, I don't know why you're laughing. And this is.
Sorry, what is this? What is this joke? This period of time that we don't talk about, is that in reference to the players, the player's name that we don't talk about? Is that the same thing?
Very much healthy, and I know, you know, not everyone loved what happened, but it just shows how resilient our economy is, right? All right, what is this? It's not. Yep, this is Perimeter. This is the Tranquility Trading Tower, the tax haven for the entire galaxy, right? For those of you that don't know what this is, it's a monument now to this Keepstar that died a little while ago, and you can actually go see this. It's one jump from Jita. This Keepstar was player-owned, so they could offer lower fees to all traders, and this is one of the most efficient and effective cartels ever to happen in EVE Online. So what happened is the biggest alliances came together and said, well, you know, we can offer a service to Capsuleers, and that is cheaper trade. But if we all put up our own structures and we keep fighting over it, that's just going to cost us money. So even though they fight wars during the day, they all got together and offered this service and then split the profits. The profits were arguably, there are some disputes between me and them about how much money they were making, but I think it's fair to say that at the height of the TTT, it made about 2 trillion ISK per month, and that was distributed to the largest blocks in the game. On the other hand, most players didn't know, but they also didn't care, because we all paid less taxes, right? So in the end, what this was a cartel that made trading better and more efficient for everyone. And yes, the profits were distributed, but then again, the blocks would argue it went into SRP, it went into funding content for EVE Online, which is a very interesting economic thing to happen, completely player-driven within EVE Online. Eventually, XL structures were banned in HiSec, and so this structure, once destroyed, would have never been able to be replaced, and you know, a little bit of drama happened. One party, you know who you are, left the agreement. Yeah, congrats. And the Keepstar was destroyed as a humongous loot pinata, all right? So, personally, I miss these days. I felt like back in the day, trading in perimeter was almost a must. Like the savings were, especially for something like Plex or skill extractors, you had to do it. But nowadays you have different options to do so. Some of the blocks have their own structures up, but it's not the same safety as it used to be, because in war times those could definitely be attacked and destroyed. Before you get out your credit cards, this is an old screenshot. I know in times of no FOMO, I know you guys are like, 40% of Omega, this is never coming back. The reason I'm showing you this screenshot is because this is something I called Plexageddon. And the reason I called this Plexageddon is because there were some sales that were so good that actually wiped the market clean of available Plex. And I know if you joined EVE recently, then this is very hard to imagine, but this is just a couple of years ago, this was happening on a regular basis. And so, in one of these situations, we had Plexageddon 2-for-1 extractor sale, for example. And this is right here, this is the cliff that the price fell out. Now, you could say, okay, I don't care about this, I don't use extractors, whatever. This represents, at any point in time, about 5 to 10% of all ISK moving in EVE Online, right? And a sale like this makes the overall trade volume in EVE Online move by 20 to 30%. And so, in this case, if you're someone like me or anyone with liquidity in this market, you're saying something drops by 50% and I know it's coming back, right? Because this is a one-time sale. It's basically just moving the demand, the future demand to today. So if you have liquidity, then you're jumping in there. And this has very far-reaching impacts on the EVE Online economy, because what happens is, you guys all know what skill farming is, right? Skill point farming. And a skill farm will look at this and say, so the skill farming is the most efficient way of gaining ISK to extract the ISK and sell in the market. It's basically a meta market play in EVE Online. And when you have a situation like this, you have people that need a lot of extractors and they're very cheap. So they are scrambling for liquidity. They sell their product, which is injectors, very, very quickly in the markets, crashing injector prices, which is about 10 to 20% of the market at any time. Then they buy skill extractors, pushing the market back up, and they need Plex to do all of this because it's only in the new Eden Store sale. So within, I would say, 1 or 2 hours of this going live, there are many people, like me, for example, that scramble to do all of this as quickly as possible. And this is something that might be happening outside of your gameplay, what you're seeing, but this is these are massive market movements that are happening all the time in EVE Online. They used to happen more, but now we have no FOMO. So, another tweet, or another Discord ping. Sorry, Govins, I know, you see, I see you out there. This is a ping on Discord that dissolved one of the biggest alliances in EVE Online. And,
so for those of you that are from WoW, this was like a massive thing that happened this back in December.
This was all a little bit last minute.
A huge war that had been going on for years and years.
And this turned into
finally ended.
An every man for himself evacuation kind of story. And I don't want to get into the drama or the politics of it. I'll let other people discuss that. All I want to say is, isn't it beautiful that these things happen? And for a few weeks, that's all we talk about. Whether you're a market trader or you're in faction warfare, this impacts everyone, right? And so, long story short, the Imperium reacted quickly. They seized the Keepstar, prevented extraction, yada, yada. And what could have been a controlled withdrawal escalated into a rapid collapse of one of the major alliances in EVE Online. So much so that you made the news. There's a billion things that I could talk about this from an economic perspective. The one I want to talk about is this. This is average ISK per day in asset safety tax, right? Asset safety is when your assets are in a station, it gets destroyed, and it doesn't, you know, even though I think it should just disappear, just going to make a political statement here as a CSM, right? I'm not a fan of asset safety, but the way it works is it gets teleported to the next NPC station, right? Or a designated NPC station. And so you can get your stuff back, but you have to pay a tax on it. And this means that for most of the time, when nothing is happening in EVE Online, or when regular day-to-day EVE Online stuff is happening, we have about 100 billion ISK per day spent in asset safety. You know, this is smaller structures being destroyed. This is people leaving the game, forgetting their stuff. In October, in November and December, this went up by up to 9 times. So if we're looking at the economic impact of this, you might say, well, you know, it's just taking a little bit of money out. From an economic perspective, this is actually great, or actually fantastic if you're looking at it from an inflation perspective, because this sinks a lot of money out of the EVE economy, right? So this is money that is never coming back. This is flowing outside of the game. And if you wanted to look at something positive out of this, right?
This happened after.
Even a line member and you lost a little bit of stuff. Technically, what this did was it.
But I did have plenty of people come into the stream and tell me that this war was going on and stuff.
Made all of your
I was missing
worth
it.
more, right? Because there's less ISK in the system now. So next time you think about the collapse of one of the largest alliances, think of the positive stuff, right? You might have lost a ship here and there, but economically speaking, you're doing a huge service to all of us, especially me, right? So don't be sad. What is this? Thank you. What is this? A Barbaroga, that's right. Isn't that a fun word to say? It's one of my favorite ships. I talk about it all the time just because I like the name. This is something that was introduced last year FanFest, I think? Is it? Yeah, last year at FanFest, it was right here on stage that this ship was introduced. This ship is very popular, and most of the time, when you have a ship that is popular, it doesn't impact the price of the ship. Now, I know you're looking at me and saying, okay, that's crazy, Oz. If you know, we learned supply demand, if people buy something, more of something, then the price will increase. Well, if you're looking at, you know, for example, a Megathron versus a Tempest, those have almost identical BPCs, right? I mean, there's no big difference for producers to make one over the other. It's really just switching the BPC, and most large-scale producers will have the BPC ready for normal Tier 1 or Tier 2 battleships or any other ship. It was different for the Barbaroga because the Barbaroga is a Triglavian ship, right? And this ship is made up mostly of these things. 0-point field manipulators. If you're not in the industry, you're probably not coming across these a lot, but for a long time, economically speaking, this was the talk of the town in EVE Online, because the supply of these was built for a world without the Barbaroga. And I don't know if, you know, there are various scenarios, but it's possible that, you know, it was underestimated how big the impact would be, or, you know, you wanted to wait and see. But when the Barbaroga came out, this happened. Like, the Barbaroga consists of 80%, although 80% of the build cost of a Barbaroga is 0-point field manipulators. So if you bring out a new ship and it is as successful as the Barbaroga, trading at almost 1 trillion ISK a week for months when it was coming out, then you are permanently shifting the economy. So essentially, what you can take from this as a new player is, if you know something like the Barbaroga is coming, and typically the BPCs are known a few days before, surprisingly few people capitalized on this, even though it was quite obvious that this is what was going to happen, depending on how popular the ship was going to be. And so, interestingly now, a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, CCP introduced a pressure valve for exactly these. So you can buy these now in the LP store, which is a very interesting way to solve this from an economic perspective, because now, if there is a massive demand on these items and ship prices, not only the Barbaroga.
Chat, when he says BPC, what is he talking about? the only term I've not understood.
But all other ships using this item get squeezed, and there's a bottleneck. Then now you can go to the LP store and trade them in. Now the cost is very
copy.
high,
Thank
so
you.
this might.
I knew I'd heard the term, but I couldn't remember what it was. Thank you.
About half of this, but that's how patches like that are a very interesting way of profiting from them. And I think it's important to say that typically the popularity of ships doesn't impact the cost of a ship, but if the ship moves the entire market like it did here, then it can influence the price of a ton of other ships, right? BTEC R, I stole this. I want to read the name because this is from a person named Ilona Melkin is the name. All right, I didn't make this infographic. This is from Reddit. This is the Battle of BTEC R, and back then I think we said the destruction was about 11 trillion. This is something that CSCP posted last month. Here, the Battle of BTEC R gets attributed to 3 trillion. So I think we have to compare and see what calculations he made. But what you can see here is the biggest battles in EVE Online history. Right? And I want you to remember these numbers. So you have 1 trillion there, you have 25 trillion there. These are battles that caught the attention of the media out there. And this is what people talk about when they talk about EVE Online. It's the big battles, right? And this is crazy because.
Well, what was the recent one that people are talking about? It was Winterco or whatever, right? What is the one that just recently happened? And then also there was the one 9 point. There's this one here, Battle of Atioth. That's the one that you're talking about. The third largest battle in EVE history. And so when you guys hear of maybe you don't play EVE Online, but you've heard of these massive battles, that's what they're talking about.
When the media talks about this, it's always about, thousands of people all over investing thousands of hours and the intelligence work that goes in here and the planning and the logistics. I already told you guys about that earlier. But what this also showed is how incredibly efficient the EVE economy is. Because you look at these battles, and these are battles that mostly.
When was the first battle of M2 Tech X? When did this happen? I'm gonna have to look up to see what these are.
Everyone remembers, and
we probably saw these. We haven't finished down the rabbit hole EVE Online yet. I just noticed that we've got we've just finished hour 4. We've still got a couple of runs of that.
The biggest number here is 25 trillion, right? This is a graph from back then. This is the Battle of BTEC R and the market impact you see there. And so if you look at this graph, so on the day of the battle, maybe there's a little blip, but you can see within a week or so, within a couple of weeks for sure, the market completely normalized. And you could say, okay, we've been talking about how complex this economy is. We've been talking about how how everything is interconnected, and why don't battles like this impact the market in a longer way? And that's because there's a reason why there's a meme in EVE Online that you all know that says already replaced, right? In EVE Online, destruction is expected. Industries or industrialists and alliances build the entire time in the build-up for these battles. So it's very rare that you have the situation like the Vexers that Pete was talking about earlier. Sorry, Swift was talking about earlier. That you have prices spiking because
these huge alliances have a massive inventory of ships to go through.
Most of what gets destroyed in these
and for those of you that are worried about losing ships, a lot of these alliances will supply you with the ships to go destroy. So if you fly for them, a lot of the times they'll replace the ships for you.
Is produced way before. And so you have these massive stockpiles, and then they build up, and then a big battle happened, but it doesn't mean that you see you see the market being impacted by months and months. If you compare the values I showed earlier between 3 trillion and 25 trillion a battle, if you're looking at what the large alliances mine and rat on a monthly basis, then we're looking at 15 trillion in mining, more or less, and that's just null-sec alliances, and 25 trillion in ratting, in PvE income. So that is ISK directly to the wallet. So if you ask me, am I impressed by these numbers? Sure, like good job, but I think in order to make a dent in the economy and in order to really risk your stockpiles, I'd really like to see like 50 trillion battles. So I hope you can accept that challenge. All right? So in closing,
he just makes more risk, right?
Key takeaways that you guys all can take from this, what drives markets. So first of all, a lot of people look at prices. Oh, have you seen how cheap compared to historically prices are right now? Historic prices are not very good indicator in EVE Online because patches, expansions shift the entire market all the time. So don't look at price levels. Look at events. Like look at what is happening in EVE Online. Look at the wars.
So this guy here, Oz, this is what his content is. He tries to talk about the market and what prices are shifting and stuff like that and how he analyzes the market. So he's basically showing people how he makes a ton of ISK.
Look at expansions. Look at
that's a lot of guys mining space rocks. It is, yeah.
Anything that changes the market.
I was trying to explain to people earlier, like this is all stuff that is competed over, right? So there's a constant like chance that you might actually get into fights with people or whatever, right?
So just price levels. One of the biggest, one of the best ways to make money in EVE Online is finding those bottlenecks. Trying to identify what the bottlenecks are. I talk a lot about in my show about days of trade available. So looking at JITA and how many days can the market be supplied, or can the market be supplied with current order levels in JITA. And that's a very, very good indicator that I think most people don't look at because a lot of markets are very shallow. So it's possible that a market can only survive 3 or 4 days without supply happening. And if you have a war and you have demand shifts or you have a patch that changes that, then it's very important to look at those bottlenecks.
I just sent out a link to all the platforms to for this guy's channel. If you're interested in the market stuff, that's who this guy is.
Understand what CCP incentives are. I mean, if you're looking at these sales, if you're looking at interventions, if if you're expecting CCP to step in, understand what the bigger goals are that CCP is following, and from that look at the market impact that could be there. One thing that is always sure is 90%, let's say 95% of players don't play the game like I just showed you. Okay, most players, they do their thing, they play, and which is great, right? Like that's what you should be doing. But this makes also EVE players very predictable. So if you think, everybody is doing this, there's no way I can profit from this, you can profit from this. It's not very difficult. If you have Capsuleer Day, I think even if I say this on the FanFest stage, you can probably still make money buying Praxis and Gnosis next week. Yeah? And then embrace change. So volatility is a good thing. We as a community, we so often look at changes and patches and happening and say, oh no, now I have to do this instead of that. And now there goes my stockpile. Trust me, as somebody that follows the market for years, it's a good thing in this case, really. The volatility is not just a change to your play style, but it also is an opportunity in disguise all the time, all right? So in summary, EVE is a game, all right? Enjoy yourself, make mistakes, because I'll be there to take your risk. All right, thank you for your time. And we have 9 minutes left for Q&A, if anybody would like to ask some questions. I think there's some mics out there. Or if you yell loud enough, I can't even hear you. I can't really see you, so you have to... Sorry? If it-
Is there someone with a question again?
He's only really saying half of it. He means volatility, the opportunity for those with the liquidity. For the part-timers or new players, it hurts them a lot. I agree to an extent, but I think you can be a part-time player if you know what you're doing. You're still going to make money off of it, right? Like before I stopped playing EVE Online, I was starting to learn how the markets worked and where I could buy stuff and sell stuff and make a ton of ISK. Like I was making it, like I told some people what I made like some days in ISK, like in just one day, and people thought I was full of shit. I was like there was a couple of days where I made over 5 billion. I think it was 5 billion ISK in one day. Like it was an obscene amount, but it was me buying and selling stuff on the markets and, you know, trading it in other hubs and stuff like that. And it wasn't every day. It was just, there were a couple of days where I just had, you know, massive amounts that I made. And that's why I was able to do a lot of the giveaways and stuff that I was doing. I also had a lot of people that were generously donating as well. Don't get me wrong. Like we had a couple of people that were donating a lot, but I was learning how to make a ton of money off of the marketplace. But it took a lot of effort to learn how the markets worked and what sold well and stuff like that. I'm sure this guy makes a shit ton more than I do, but I do think that if you put in some effort, even as a part-time player, you can learn how to make some good money and take advantage of what he's talking about. You have to pay attention to what's going on in game. Like if you're a part-time player, meaning that you only play once every few weeks or something like that. But if you're paying attention to like the wars and the battles that are going on and stuff like that, or the events that are going on in game, I think that's what he's talking about. You can make some ISK doing that.
What's up with Tech 2 salvage prices? Who is manipulating now?
Tech to salvage. See, salvage markets are interesting. There's an interview I did out there where
obviously guys like this that is 100%. I don't even know if is he a full-time content creator? I don't know. But this is all he does. So obviously he's going to have an advantage. And what he said at the end, like not everyone's going to play like he does. 95% of players are not into the sort of stuff that he's into, which is great because, you know, if you are into that, you can make some money off of it. But personally, I mean, I'm a little bit interested in it, but that's not all I want to do. Like I was learning how to play the markets in order to feed, you know, and give myself a source of income to basically, you know, allow myself to go blow up bigger and badder ships without having to worry so much about it, right? So he's an economist, yes.
Guy that some of you may know.
He's an economist. He's an economist where I'm more or less a day trader if in EVE Online. I guess he's playing the market as a whole, and I was day trading basically.
Right, and if you haven't seen that video, then and you're dealing in any way with salvage, then go see that video. You're going to be very nervous because if you look at what that guy is doing, he's probably manipulating about 50% of what is going on with Tech 2 salvage. What's going on right now, if we're looking at what has happened recently in EVE Online, it's certainly the case that we have a lot more exploration sites nowadays that are in the system. So for the last few years, the price of most salvage has dropped quite significantly. This is mostly counteracted by the larger numbers of structures being destroyed and structure rigs being there being a large demand for structure rigs recently, and that's what the two biggest drivers in the salvage market have been recently. I hope that answers your questions. I can see you. Hi.
Hey, thanks. Not directly a market question, but we hear a lot about scamming in EVE. Do you have any idea about the volume ISK-wise of scamming compared to some of the numbers here?
Here's a question I have for you in chat: is scamming like, to an extent, is it not like allowed in the game? Like, part of the great thing about EVE Online is people get fucked over in game, and that's considered part of the game. People infiltrate these huge alliances, and use the infiltration to basically rob these alliances blind. That's considered part of the game. That's one of the reasons why I think this game is fantastic, because it reminds me of like stuff that happened in Ultima Online and Shadowbane and stuff like that. But is he talking about like scamming other players in game, like ripping them off, like legitimately, or is this like not allowed in the game?
We have to, I think, separate between in-game scamming and out-of-game scamming, because obviously.
Okay, so maybe he's gonna differentiate here.
Out-of-game scamming would be, illegal, but so let's talk about the in-game scamming. As I am someone who runs a very large investment fund in EVE, and I'm sitting on about 4 trillion ISK that people have just given me because they trust me. There's nothing that keeps me from running.
It's allowed.
This game. So on the one hand, there are many people out there that are trying to take your ISK, and I think if you're running into it blindly, then you will lose your.
And that's one of the amazing things about this game is you can never fully trust anyone in the game, but ultimately you do need to, if you want to play with other players, there is a certain amount of trust that you have to give to them, but you can never fully 100% trust anyone in the game.
At some point you will lose your ISK. On the other hand,
like for all we know, this guy that he just talked about how he's got this huge investment fund, like can think of it as like a fund in real life. For all we know, he could just at the end of it say, "Nah, you know what? Fuck you guys," just take it all, right? Like I don't know how CCP, or now they're called FC or whatever they're called now. I don't know how they would react to that, if they would even do anything about it. Like he's said that this is a legitimate investment fund. People make money off of it. They give him money and he invests it for them. And it's essentially you're going to see a return and profit off of this. But could one day he turn around and say, yeah, you know what? No, fuck you. I'm taking all the money and there's nothing you can do about it. And would anything actually be done about it? I don't think anything would be. There's no FC. No, I'm not trying. What did CCP change their name to? That's what I was trying to get the abbreviation.
I think overall, if you're using common sense and you're active in this wonderful community, I think most of the time you're okay. So I think the fact that in this game you can lose everything.
FC, Fenris Creations, thank you.
Very unique, but on the other hand, I do also believe in this community, and if you are in a good corp, if you trust each other, then there's a lot of good going around. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. Yeah. The ISK size of scamming? Trillions, I'm sure. I'm sure. I mean, there's every day somebody tries to impersonate me, so to get people to give them money. And this happens every single day on Discord. So I get messages about, I say on average 3 or 4 messages a day of people saying, look, there's people trying to impersonate you. So it's extreme. And if this happens 1,000 times a day and just a couple of people fall for it, then that's already going to be billions, maybe hundreds of billions. And those are just the scams that I know of. So it's trillions for sure.
And those are just scams that people are impersonating him. There's all sorts of scams that are going on in game, like cargo running or whatever, where, there's all sorts of scams. That's one of the amazing things about this game is you really have to find a group of people that you think that you can trust, but you still have to watch your back, right?
Sorry? Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, and now I'm nervous because there's an angry mustache standing there. What's up, dude?
Hi, Odds. I don't really have a question for you, but rather a comment regarding your statement. Oh, 25 trillion ISK destroyed is nothing. So my comment is that for all those battles, all the pilots that fly their supers and titans into the fight are part of alliances that have a social contract of anything you lose for for alliance purposes will replace. And alliances don't have a very limited amount a very limited capacity to tax their players for income to replace those ships. So, goons as a whole might rat 10 trillion ISK in a month, but Goons from Federation, the Alliance wallet, doesn't see anywhere close to that going into there. So while our players have, probably hundreds of trillions of ISK in their wallet, we as the Alliance don't have anything near that. Like, I think most people grossly overestimate how rich nullsec alliances are. We can't replace 25 trillion out of pocket. Then that's my comment on that.
Oh yeah, thank you. No, for sure. It's a lot of ISK, and I think what my message would be is that it's not that 25 trillion is a small battle. It's more that the ingredients are there to make bigger battles happen, and I know even you have stockpiles left after a 25 trillion battle, right? But that in no means diminishes your accomplishments there. I see Hyper Vipers looking at me. I can see that. Right? Yes, please.
Given the changes they've announced, Exodium, the JITA changes, or if you don't want to talk about something that's happening right now, previous events, can you give us a peek into your head when you see a CCP announcement, how you think about what investments you would make or how that's going to affect the markets? A little peek into how you look at it.
Yeah, this question is going to be a lot better next year when I'm not NDA'd as a CSM, because I unfortunately know a little bit of what might happen, which is why I'm not trading right now, just to make this clear, right? Yeah, so
not.
I think on the one hand, I think it's very exciting. So when we see lore seeping into actual game content right now, as we're seeing around JITA and the Exordium area and Ulai and all the speculations that are going on on Reddit, I think there's very few things that are cooler than this period. Like, even if this would mean, let's say I have several trillion of assets in JITA, and even let's say, even if it meant that all my stuff was gone, it doesn't get more exciting than that. And wherever CCP is going to land on that spectrum of what's going to happen, I think I love it. And that's what I meant by change or volatility is good, because when we have I think the worst is when nothing is changing in EVE Online, and when we see the bigger the better, really. Does that answer your question? Yeah.
Mostly. Are there any specific commodities or markets you think that you would think that this would affect, just with what they've said so far? And that's why I said if there's a past event you'd rather talk about.
Yeah. That's going to be too expensive for me in the real world, so sorry. Find me later. Just kidding.
Hi, my name is Zoltan. I'm from EVE University.
Hi.
Thanks for being here. Quick question for you. You've been on the CSM for 3 terms.
Yeah.
You have a very deep understanding of the game economy.
Yeah.
Based on that experience, would you say that no FOMO is still a thing? And if so, is it a good thing?
Whew. All right. Yeah.
Hold on. Let's.
Hi, my name is Zoltan. I'm from EVE University.
Hi.
Thanks for being here. Quick question for you. You've been on the CSM for 3 terms.
Yeah.
You have a very deep understanding of the game economy.
Yeah.
Based on that experience, would you say that no FOMO is still a thing? And if so, is it a good thing?
Whew. All right. Yeah. I was able to do a show last week on the CCP financials of last year, and I'm not going to go into details.
By the way, earlier I was talking about there being some tutorial guides for people that want to get into EVE. I was trying to find the link. I just found it. So if you're looking to get into EVE Online, here is the playlist of tutorial guides. They're pretty well done. I think there's some of them that could maybe be done a little bit better. But if you want to get into EVE Online and you want to learn how to do, like different things in the game, there's a whole slew of videos. I think there's 21 videos in that list. So whatever you want to try out and do, there's probably a video there for it, or there's other content creators. But that's the playlist that I was looking for before. They're quite well done. But you can learn the basics of the game anyways. How old are the people who play this game? It looks like a bunch of divorced dads standing up at an AA meeting. T-Mac, don't act like you're not one of those divorced dads, okay? Like the people that are playing classic WoW, a lot of them are older players as well. Here, is there an empire you recommend to start as? Kaldari. I would. There's no racial bonuses, so it doesn't really matter where you start. But Kaldari is kind of closer to where the starting main hub, like the biggest hub in the game, is. So you can kind of start there, and then maybe go look at those videos that I just linked. Learn how to do basic things like spend a couple of hours learning how to mine, spend another couple of hours learning how to hack into computer systems, that sort of stuff. Try a bunch of different things, figure out what it is that you like, what you might be interested in doing in the future, and then just kind of slowly work towards that. Keep in mind that EVE Online is not level based, it's skill point based. So you don't progress by gaining levels. You progress by gaining skill points, which are constantly accumulated over time. So I would learn how to, I would learn how to train things first, and kind of where you want to go from there. Do the tutorials, just fuck around and game for a little while, and then decide kind of what direction you want to take. What empire am I? I'm in the Aladar Empire. No, I'm in Goonswarm. So Goonswarm is the biggest empire. The reason I joined had nothing to do with the fact that it was the biggest. It was the one that people said, hey, like I basically asked people, hey, I'm a new player. What empire is really good at helping new players get into the game? And Goonswarm had a corporation. They're not called guilds, they're called corporations. They've got a corporation called Karma Fleet. Basically, people said Karma Fleet is probably the best for like learning the game. And even people that were in our enemies' alliances were saying, yeah, you know what, Karma Fleet is just the best place to go. Yeah, the Magic 14 is something you want to look up. Anyways, is that near Kaldari? No, but I wouldn't really worry about whether it's near Kaldari or not. Wherever you decide that you want to go play with, you will be able to get there. Kaldari is kind of a good place to start because you will be close to where a lot of the big trading hub is, so that you can kind of branch out from there. And if you decide to join an alliance, which I would say look into, no matter where you decide that you want to join, you will be able to get your stuff, there, one way or the other. So yeah, it doesn't matter really. I would suggest just start Kaldari. You'll be near Jita, which is the biggest trading hub. And then you can kind of learn the game from there, learn how the markets work, all that sort of stuff. And then when you decide you want to jump into I don't want to call it the end game content, because there's not really an end game content, but if you want to jump into joining one of these major alliances and participating in the wars, You can do your own research, decide which one you want to join. You might not even want to end up doing that. You might want to join like a wormhole corporation or some smaller high sec. And by high sec, we mean like a high sec corporation that basically they stay in the high security areas. And then you aren't really, having to worry about joining these huge battles that are going on or getting jumped all the time. That doesn't mean that you're always safe, but there's a good chance that you'll be able to fly around more frequently and not have to worry about getting jumped all the time. You will still get killed in high sec. It does happen, but you can learn from it and just continue on mining or doing stuff like that. So okay, thank you. So my empire choice isn't a permanent thing, it's just a starting spot. Your starting empire doesn't really have a lot. I started Skeleton, Dodixian, it was anyways.
It's clear that players are stockpiling a lot of Plex, right? So I think one of the strategies, as I imagine, would be to do fewer sales and then make them not as in magnitude not as high, to ensure that people are confidently spending Plex all the time. And based on what I have seen on the books, people are keeping more Plex more than ever. So
it would kill anyone in high sec. There are people that can. Like, you can get killed in high sec. It is actually highly frowned upon now, though. And I believe people in chat can correct me if I'm wrong. If players are found to be doing this regularly, they can actually get in serious trouble now in high sec. But it can happen. You're not completely safe. But I believe if people are going around and just like killing new players over and over again, they can actually get in shit for it. They become a little bit more strict about that sort of stuff. So don't worry about it. Keep in mind, these ships that you get when you first start playing, dude, they're worth nothing. Like, you will get a bunch of them just doing the tutorial. There is an in-game tutorial to help you start out. You can literally learn how to make enough ISK to, like, in an hour to pay for 100 of these things. Think of them as a bullet, or if you played other MMOs, think of it as like using a health pot in a battleground or something like that. Like, losing a ship is really nothing. It's more about, like, if you die, it's more about pride than anything else. But if you're in a starting corporation, or if you're in a starting zone and you die, it happens. Don't worry about it. You'll get tons of ships, and you'll be able to, fly them, and, you'll get killed over and over again. And the first time it happens, you might think, oh my God, I just lost all this shit. You'll be able to make that back in no time. But outside those meta, they are fair game. Yeah, it does happen. Don't worry about it. Like, basically, don't worry about it. Just get into another ship and just continue on. Maybe avoid that area, go somewhere else, but you'll learn. You'll get killed, and if you have any questions as to why you died, maybe just ask people. But anyways, yeah, there's a term or a saying, undocking is consent to PvP. So as soon as you undocked, you could be a target. But having said that, don't sit there and think, oh my God, I'm going to get killed over and over again. That's not going to happen. And there are some tricks that you can learn to avoid getting targeted, getting killed. And it's all a learning process, right? Like, you will learn how to not be a target, how to, fly safe, how to watch for things that are going on in the area that you're in, so that you see stuff, you see troublemakers maybe before they fly in. And this will be a learning experience. Like, at first, you're going to have no idea who this person was, how they caught you, whatever. But I promise you that as you, like, get more experience, you will learn what mistakes that you were making and why you were getting caught off guard. Part of the game.
It's good that CCP is trying different things, and I think they need to look at the numbers and then make decisions based on that. And
no, I'm
which
talking about
direction they can take, I cannot tell you.
the guy that was asking about.
Right.
Hi. How do you think the fight against inflation has been going so far? I know that's been something
Multiphasic, I was talking to.
quite a bit. Do you think that, would you like to see prices continue to fall? Is there a lower bound that you think maybe should be aimed for, or do you think just lower the better?
Yeah, fantastic, thank you. So I don't get tired of mentioning that, like before I joined the CSM, we had exponential growth in money supply in EVE Online, and since then I think CCP has done some great things to curb that. I think we're in a pretty healthy space where we right now have, I don't know, maybe about 10, on average probably 10% more is coming in than going out. The inflation levels overall are low that I see in most prices. The one change you're alluding to is mineral prices. I'm guessing mineral prices have been dropping, but I mean, we're just now at mineral price index prices that we had before.
I would, for those of you that are looking at possibly starting the game, I would look into EVE University. It's a well-run, new player-friendly corporation that allows you to basically join, and you can join into their Discord, and they will basically teach you how to play the game.
Resource redistribution. So
the event that shall not be mentioned.
Exactly. So I think that
James 315, are you actually this group that goes around killing lobbies?
I'm not concerned at all. I think what we need to look at is the amount of people mining and whether the value proposition for mining is there. And the last expansion increased mining numbers a lot, right? And now we're close to where we were before, which is always correlated to active players after an expansion. The excitement is there, obviously, but I think we need to ensure that price levels are such that people still enjoy mining and people have a value proposition to mine. And if that is there, then I think the price levels are good. I'm not concerned about the current developments in any way. I think right now the EVE economy is in a very good state in terms of supply and inflation. And I think it says my time is up, so I think they want me to rush off the stage. But I think we're done as well with the questions. So thank you all so much. I'll be around. Find me and talk to me. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, what do we have next? So we have Loru and that toxic guy. They talk for about 10 minutes. And then there's another presentation. It looks like it goes for how long? About 45 minutes. I'm not sure who this is, what he talks about. We'll probably watch that. Oh, and then the president of Iceland looks like she comes on a little bit. That's wild that the president of Iceland comes to this. How to die in space. Yeah, we were going over the population size earlier in the stream, and I was a little surprised at how small. Is it Reykjavik? Is that how you pronounce it properly? How small of a city it is. I don't know how many people do they expect to come in for this fan fest.
Welcome back, everybody.
Just like that. We're back. Welcome.
Wondering how many people go to this.
FanFest 2026. If you missed us before, welcome back. My name is That Guy Toxic, and then we have the amazing YouTube star himself, Loru Mirth. So, how are we all doing today? I would like to say, Oz, very eloquent, amazing guy. I got to speak to him throughout FanFest. I was very, very impressed with all of his talking points. Very intellectual. Chat. If you guys enjoy anything to do with Oz, we need
Do you see yourself resigning?
We need ones in chat if you loved anything to do with what Oz was talking about there. Please do. Go for it.
Yeah. Everybody keep on typing those ones. Oz killed it. Love the market analysis. I love how he dives deep into what's going on. I love how no matter what Oz is talking about, he always goes over the macro and how it affects the individual. One of my favorite things about his talk. So we're here at FanFest, having a great time. If you missed our segment at the start of this, after the opening ceremony, we have all aspects of EVE Online here, including Vanguard, Frontier. We've got board games, we've got card games. They have a mini painting stations. And Oz was talking about specifically the new player area, Exordium. And I know that he's NDA'd, but we know nothing about the things.
No,
so
we kind of don't know anything. I'm excited to explore the area and see how it is. Also, as sort of any member of an MMO, you always have the whales, right? The guys with the shiniest ships, the flashiest stuff, walking around with red velvet pimp stuff, right? So that's going to be a really enjoyable experience just to see all the AT ships. I'm sure there will be AT ships running around there like crazy. So you get to see the guys strutting their stuff. So we'll see that. Well, yeah.
That was actually the first thing that my chat was talking about when they announced Exordium was, hey, I can't wait for people to actually undock their AT ships. I know that some people aren't really happy about that the most expensive ships can be moved to a zero PvP area, but I would tell those people, let them cook. Let's see what happens, because the newer players are going to be able to see these big shiny things and actually have I've been calling it like a kiddie pool, like a place where like a little sandbox that you can practice in before we get to the big sandbox of EVE Online. And I don't know about y'all, but the second thing after the AT ships was, well, how do you get out? How do you get out of Exordium? And what they've said so far is there's that one bottleneck system. And I was like, oh, that's not going to go. There's going to be catalysts everywhere. But there's going to be what looks like, from what we saw from the article, some kind of shipcaster that pushes you to random Empire space. Now we're talking. Now we're talking. Now the newbies can go anywhere and everywhere after they're out of the kiddie pool, out of the fresh pond, into the open ocean. So, good stuff. Yeah.
So, as a connection point, I spoke to Laura about this, and I wanted to talk about it, right? So I've only done content creation in EVE Online really for about 1.5 years. And just like a lot of you watching right now, I was in that Twitch chat last year thinking, wow, could I do this? Could this be something that is possible? Amazingly, somehow I'm here. So it's it is insane to be a part of it.
Only 1 year.
A year and a bit. Yeah. Man. It's been an amazing year. There's many shouts out there. If you are starting creation, please do not let the first couple months stop you, because sometimes you won't get, you're going to make an amazing video and it will get barely any traction or any videos, and it can really ruin it. But just keep in mind, the more and more you'll see it, that growth really does go up, and it'll just give you the love of the game.
He's right.
For anybody right now, I would say Bombeldo.
Ooh,
the wizard himself.
The wizard?
The wizard, exactly.
The wizard.
The man
Fireball.
who has Fireball, yes. He is amazingly rising, amazing content. It is extremely rare in New Eden to have any kind of dread PvP, so it's really, really cool, right?
We love seeing it. I've seen a short or two. No, Toxic's right, and this is something that does not happen in other categories and speaks to not just the players' engagement with the creators, but the developers' engagement with the actual players. Where having a creator that's been doing it for only a year and change, you know,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
We're gonna go to the washroom, guys. I'll be right back. We're gonna watch the
on the
next.
stage.
We're gonna watch the next little bit as well. We're gonna do this in chunks. This is a long. Oh my god, I'm gonna be watching this like all day tomorrow as well. I wanna do this. Watch this all on stream, but I'm gonna go to the washroom. I'll be right back.
With mic in hand at FanFest in the Silverberg room.
The Silverberg.
I'm going to say it wrong every time. In the Silverberg room, if you're from the States, sheesh, I can't roll my R's, okay? But to have this much from such a short amount of time, it just doesn't happen in other game categories. And I know, because I've been in the other game categories. I've been doing this for 10 years. Been making EVE content for 3.5, 3 and change. Let's just keep saying that, you know, sounds good enough. And something I noticed from the start is that the EVE category, if you make something fun, shock, fun first. People want fun. In
crazy.
the year of our Lord, they want to enjoy the video game. What did Oz say? It's a game.
Enjoy it. Ships
Enjoy
are
it.
ammunition, after all, right? So
I was going to say investments, but also ammo.
And also ammo, yeah. As you were saying earlier, so how does Mr. Loru here, how do you make your ISK?
Ooh, how do I make my ISK?
Yeah,
Well,
how do you make it?
Well, I mean, there's this 2-letter acronym that I don't know y'all have heard me talk about. It's PI, a little bit, just a little bit of PI, just a little bit of PI, smidge, yeah. When the Torrent and Deluge launched, I was doing, call it like 20% of my income was from PI. Once they made Torrent, Deluge, Squall, especially the Deluge, because it's Covert Ops Cloak with that 45K infrastructure hold base, whatever it is, I think, or max, I don't remember. It's a big infrastructure hold, it's almost as much as a DST. But with the Covert Ops Cloak, it turned my routes from a 15-minute in an Octator to sub-5 in Ponchfin, in Nullsec. And I've done a little bit of Wormhole, but people kicked me out of Wormhole space, you know. So PI is a big one. The refer a friend code, we like to take a lot of the master cerebrals and give those to the people because I don't whatever, you know, just give it away.
Some would say for the community, would you say that?
For the community. We don't do close-ups here, and I can't yell, but you're right. You're exactly correct. So I love it, shit. It makes me happy. So, no, there's that, and the PvE aspect of it, when I'm doing actual gameplay off stream, it's mostly a mix of PI, some mining, but I don't mind to sell the ore. I mine to make faction ammo is one of my big hustles, you know. I'll take the T1 ammo, we talk about this a lot, and turn it into faction ammo with a lot of the loyalty points that we get on stream when we go do faction warfare. We get all the new revamped sites, they're awesome. Even security missions, depending on which one, will give you the correct loyalty points, and yes, you can get your security status up too. So I gotta make sure that when I'm sure you're similar, I gotta make sure I'm ready for stream when time comes. I gotta be able to yeet the fleets and show up with the good ships.
There is a lot of pre-prep. Whether that be programs, ships, where we're staging, where we want to be.
You guys are like pros. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing before I start streaming.
Luckily for me, CCP, FC, added the filaments many years ago now, but they make my life so much easier as a solo PvPer as opposed to a PvE content creator. It is phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
So,
phenomenal. And even after they've, it is a nerf, the Ponchfin Express, as we call
it. Can I change my character later easily if I don't feel like creating one now? What do you mean, change your character later? I mean, you won't be able to change, like, your character's name or, like, physically what they look like. I don't know what you mean by changing the character. Like, you can delete it and start over again if you want. Can you change the appearance? I don't think you can. I think it's like WoW, like you make your appearance. If you've already made them, you can just delete them and remake them tomorrow. You can do that if you haven't really done anything in game.
When you go to Ponchfin, come back, you know. Even though they've nerfed that, I think they've been great nerfs because they are more well balanced now. Where before you were basically like immune from, we would do exploration yeets going into deep nullsec. I'm talking Stratios with full cargo of just exploration loot and with very minimal risk. With very liminal risk? Oh, that's something else. That's more scary. You know,
I hear it.
with minimal risk, we could just come back to high second seller stuff. Now there's more gang potential. There's more counterplay. That's what it's all about. And we're seeing this more and more as the devs keep making stuff. They'll add a system, let it kind of sit. We didn't even talk about this before, but the fact that we do an expansion and then we have like an expansion update 6 months later, something I don't see a lot of game dev studios doing.
There is a lot of...
It's one of my favorites. Oh yeah, I love it. It helps the balancing. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I'm very excited to find out. We don't know. We know nothing. Absolutely. Even though we're on this stage right here, we know nothing about what's happening on that main stage that you were seeing earlier. So I'm very excited. I hope it's something like a new ship or something like, I'm really excited for something like... and what you were talking about earlier with potentially how I make this, which is
Oh, is there? But Bobsoft, he's literally like just downloaded the game. I don't know what the cost on this certificate would be. But he's like literally, I think he just downloaded the game tonight because he was watching me stream it. He's not. He's a World of Warcraft viewer of mine. But I think if it costs anything, it's just probably more worth as well just to delete the character and or create a second character. Unless he just wants the name, then he can just delete the character and start a new character. I don't know if there's a time restriction, like if he deletes a character, if there's a certain amount of time he's got to wait to create a character with that name again. I'm not sure how that works.
You make ask that guy toxic? How do?
When I was fresh at PvP, my main source of content was exploration, which I still think to this day is the best form of new player interaction.
I would agree.
To understand the game, understanding how to scan, how to get away from potential gate camps and nullsec, and always be aware that there is always a Loki right there next to you, just staring at you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Every
as long as you've got that down, you're good.
I think that's a rule in Eve.
Yeah.
Like there's got to be a law somewhere, like the law
Right,
of the cloaked Loki.
Exploration was something that I was constantly doing just because of how much ISK you.
Or the law of the
But
cloaked.
I had started, like I said earlier, I started to learn how the market worked, and I started playing that, and then I was like, okay, maybe I'm just gonna make a lot more money on the market than exploration.
There is one. It's behind you right now. If you're at FanFest, it's right there. So we're wrapping up now. Toxic. It's
My next plan is like I left the game skilling into PvP ships. My next step will be to step into PvP and try to actually like learn how to PvP and hopefully make some money doing it.
been great talking to you.
It's been phenomenal.
Everybody,
Again.
we're going to be going back to the main stage right now. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you very much.
07s.
Talk to you soon.
Survive
07's chat.
by Paul M. Sutter is starting in Entburg Auditorium right now.
Let's see what this guy's talking about.
Here to teach us how to die in space.
To die in
Put your
space.
hands together for our guest keynote speaker, Paul M. Sutter.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Capsuleers. Before I get started, quick question. Has anyone in here ever died in space before? All right. Veterans, I love it. Normally, I give this talk to rookies who have no idea what they're about to get into, but I feel like you know exactly what's about to happen in our next 45 minutes together. Because you know that we live here in the solar system, where it's nice and safe and sound and sometimes quiet. But that's not where we want to be. We want to be in the great unknown, the vast, unexplored regions of the universe. Nullsec, I think you call it, right? Yes, this is where you want to be, the Wild West, where most of you like to have a lot of fun. But to get from here to there requires navigating enormous challenges that the universe presents to us. And so what we're going to do is a training simulation. I'm here to guide you, and I will give you simple options, path A or path B. Do this, don't do that. And you're going to vote by being as loud as you can. It will be simple majority rules, unless I think the other option is funnier in the moment, okay? And if we die, no big deal. HTFU, we reset and we try again. And if we make it, we make it. If we don't, at least we died trying. So, who's ready to die in space? No. We're gonna try that again. We're here at the Harpa. We're here at the top of the world. I was told that this was the most devoted, the most enthusiastic, the most passionate fandom in the entire galaxy. So let me ask you again, are you ready to die in space? Yeah! Yes, that's what I like to hear. So we must start off here on Earth. You know what? We could just give up now. I'll be honest. Oh, wait, okay, wait. Who wants to just call it quits, go grab some lunch, and then just take a nap for the rest of the afternoon?
Yeah! Sorry.
Why
Is
are
there
you
people
here?
cheering?
Who wants to get out of Earth? Yes. All right, stay on the Earth. We are not staying on the Earth. And you live. That's a great choice. Bad news, everyone you know and love has died. Mixed feelings, actually. Check this out. Whenever you see a shooting star streaking across the sky, and you're like, ooh, look at that, pretty shooting star. That is an object the size of a grain of sand, screeching through our atmosphere at tens of thousands of kilometers per hour. Now, bigger rocks do land on the Earth quite frequently. Usually a rock the size of this stage or so strikes the Earth once every decade or so, roughly. And when that strikes our atmosphere, it releases all of its energy, and that energy is equivalent to a typical thermonuclear blast. But it usually happens over open ocean, usually several miles up in the atmosphere, so usually nobody notices. But every once in a while, a much larger rock appears. The rock that killed almost all the dinosaurs was a few kilometers across. When it struck off of the Gulf of Mexico, off the Yucatan Peninsula, it struck with enough force to bury itself several kilometers into the crust of the Earth. The ejecta that erupted from that explosion reached halfway to the moon. When it struck, it literally rang the Earth like a bell, which triggered volcanic explosions all across the planet. And then that ejecta came raining back down to Earth. It literally rained fire for years afterward. And there was so much dust in the atmosphere, it blocked out the sun for over 1,000 years, killing almost all of the large land animals, almost all of the dinosaurs. The only ones to survive were the birds. And that was generally a bad time for life on Earth. So even staying on our planet with our atmosphere and our oceans and our Pepsi Maxes, you know, like with everything all the creature comforts of home, it is still not quite safe. You have to stay moving in this universe. And by the way, these large multi-kilometer asteroids, they strike the Earth roughly every 20 million years or so. And the last one to hit the Earth was about 20 million years ago. So,
oh, great.
Huh, that's nice. So we made it off the Earth. Good first step. Now we need a trajectory to get us out of the solar system. We need a low gravitational boost from the sun. Should we swing close to the sun? Who says yes? Who says yes? Who says no? I think the yeses have it. Let's see, let's see. You live. Great job, Capsuleers. Great job. And as we approach the sun, you get a close-up view of what the surface of the sun actually looks like. The sun is alive in a way that is truly indescribable. because the core of the sun is fueled by nuclear power, by the fusion of hydrogen into helium. So it's really, really hot on the inside, a few million degrees Kelvin. But the outside is exposed to the vacuum of space, which is essentially 0 degrees. And so you have hot on the inside, cold on the inside. And if you've ever boiled a pot of water, you know what happens to materials when they're hot on one side and they're cold on the other. They boil. And that's exactly what happens inside of the sun. Massive plumes of material are heated at or near the core. Then they expand, they rise up to the surface, they reach the surface, they cool down, they become more dense, and they slink back down, constantly churning up and down, transporting heat from the interior of the sun to the exterior. A typical bit of light that is generated in the core can take up to 100,000 years to finally reach the surface. And this pattern that we see, we call these granules, solar granules, this is the boiling of the sun itself. To put these granules into perspective, each one of these is roughly the size of a continent on the Earth. These are tremendous. This is the sun. This is alive, but you know what? As long as you don't stick close to the sun for too long, you will survive the transit just fine. So now we're making our way out of the solar system. We have to navigate the asteroid belt. Should we avoid the asteroid belt? Who says, yes, avoid the asteroid belt?
Oh.
Unconvinced, okay. Who says, no, let's dive right through the asteroid belt? Capsuleers, I told you, you are veterans. You know exactly what you're doing in navigating space. The asteroid belt is nothing like you see in the movies. You know, in every movie, the asteroid belt is dense and crowded, and asteroids are crashing into each other, and you have to zig and zag. Folks, we have sent dozens of spacecraft through the asteroid belt. And you know what's happened to them? Nothing. You can stand on any typical asteroid. A typical asteroid, by the way, is about the size of this table. You can stand on it or attach yourself to it. The nearest asteroid to you, that's also roughly this size, the nearest one is over 1 million kilometers away. You just sail on through just fine. Yeah, if we send enough spacecraft enough times over the future of humanity, yes, there will be a collision, but it is so statistically unlikely, it is not worth thinking about. So we're gonna go right through the asteroid belt like it's no big deal. And now we
I don't know what this guy's point is. We skip this, chat? Some of you have seen this already. Do we skip this or what? Someone that's watched this before, tell me if this is worth watch, because I really don't understand. I was wanting to watch it all, but so far I don't know what he's talking about.
Reach the outer
What's
solar
the point
system.
of this?
Folks, it takes real spacecraft, actual spacecraft, the limits of human technology and engineering. To reach the outer solar system, it takes nearly a decade of travel. Nearly a decade of travel. And these spacecraft are traveling 30, 40,000 kilometers per hour. They could circle the Earth in less than an hour, and it takes them a decade to reach the outer planets of the solar system. So I hope you packed a sandwich. I hope you used the bathroom before you left, because we're not turning around, okay? But now that we've reached the outer solar system, we've already been traveling for years. Who wants to take a little pit stop, visit one of the gas or ice giant planets in the outer solar system? Who wants to take a break here? Sure. What was that?
No.
Can we go to Pluto? Not a planet, sorry. You know what? Pluto is very near and dear to my heart. I love Pluto. I'm on Team Pluto as a planet, by the way, but that's not today's talk. Don't derail me. Who wants to keep going? All right, we're not resting. Well, you guys got to die at some point, okay? It's way more entertaining when you die a lot. Okay. You live. Space, you have to keep moving. You have to keep moving. Because space is filled with deadly radiation. We call it cosmic rays. It's not really rays, it's actually tiny, tiny little particles, but we discovered it before we figured out what it was made of. We thought it was a new form of radiation, and then we figured out it's a bunch of little tiny particles. But by the time we discovered that it's a bunch of little tiny particles, the name cosmic rays had already stuck, and so here we are. These cosmic rays are generated everywhere. They're generated in the sun. They're generated in supernova explosions,
none of you are helping me.
mergers of stars.
Is there a
Every
point
violent
to all
energetic
this?
process in the universe, which is most processes in the universe, generates this flood of high energy particles. And the high energy particles, we're talking protons, we're talking helium nuclei, sometimes nuclei of heavier elements. They race through the entire galaxy. They absolutely flood the entire galaxy. Here on the Earth, we're largely protected. We're protected from cosmic rays by our magnetic field. It's a literal force field that protects us from these high energy charged particles. And we also have our atmosphere that absorbs a lot of the impacts. But still, many cosmic
I don't understand what he's talking. Like, what is the point of this?
at tens of thousands of revolutions per minute. That's faster than a kitchen.
I think are we doing like an astrophysics right now? I feel like that's what we're doing. Oh, an astrophysics class.
Toxic and I were talking before because the last
Special
presenter was talking a lot about like space, death, stars and stuff, and stars
I want to get back to talking about the game.
and stuff might be the best summary there, I think. So, Toxic, what's your first memorable death in
My
EVE Online?
first memorable death in EVE, which I, completely honest with you, I almost quit. There was a fine gentleman when I lived in Pure Blind back in 2015. Tackled by a Stratios, and I, in my infinite wisdom, with my multiple colored missile launchers, decided to go and save him in my caracal. And then, obviously, the Stratios killed me. I was very upset. I almost quit the game. I had a friend called Zervi. He lost a Gila, and I honestly told him, if I ever lost something like that, I could never play this game again. So I've had so much respect for him. Now, I'm losing billions a week and laughing while I'm doing it. So what about yourself, Lauren?
Oh, man. My first memorable death. So when I first started playing EVE, one of my buddies put me in a null-sec alliance with like him and his buddies, right? And I was given a Hyperion. It was my first ever battleship. Still love the Hype. I love it. It's one of my favorites.
Beautiful ship.
Beautiful. And I got ganked doing some PvE, because remember, this was like 20-something years ago, literal 2 decades ago. And dude hopped on top of me, a couple people pointed at me, and I thought if you logged out, you were safe.
Oh, you thought you could do the quick vanish. Yeah?
So I alt F forward, thinking, oh, they can't get me. I'm not signed in. Sign back into a capsule and them spamming the kill mill in local. So, hey, shout out those dudes. You earned it. We all start somewhere. You know? So
it is always,
that's how it goes.
it's always a painful thing. With learning with this game, it's real life time to make all these things possible, to create all these ships. It hurts sometimes. It takes a while to understand that ships are just ammunition. And then we just have fun. It is a game after all, right? So
yeah. We were talking too about like first alliances and first really experiences with those big battles, and maybe it's not even just a big battle, just like in your first alliance, what's your first memorable memory? Does that make sense? Is that good English?
No, 100%. So my first alliance was, some people don't like it, some people do. It's Space Monkeys Alliance, right? Ook Ook in local was the big thing. And
I think
within
these
that
guys are
alliance,
just
when I
talking
got
to
fresh,
get
I
to,
literally
like,
started
while
in
they set
Jita,
up the
and I
next
went
thing,
straight to
so-
nullsec on like my first. Everybody, we're all nerds trying to enjoy a space thing, but I'm sorry.
We'll have to see about it, chat. Thanks very much. Talk to you soon. 07.
07s.
All right, I think this is where the president of Iceland comes on. See what these guys are talking about, but I want to hear what's actually going on in EVE Online.
Please welcome on stage FC Helmar and Adrian Bolton.
See what they're talking about.
Hello, FanFest!
The keynote is bad?
So
you've already watched all this, right? I haven't watched any of this, and I just had to skip through like the last section because I had no idea what the hell the point was.
it's always wonderful to be here, but it's especially wonderful right now because this is the first time we host FanFest as Fenris Creations. And
hey, Virtue Web, how's it going, man?
I'm going to be joined here for a while with Adrian Bolton, who is from the...
Okay, so this is the CEO of Fenris Creations, and if you weren't here earlier, I was talking about how if you're not familiar with EVE Online, if you're from World of Warcraft, the developers of EVE Online have basically purchased their game back. So this would be akin to Blizzard, like the old school Blizzard developers, buying the game back from Activision to retake control of the game. So there's a lot of excitement over this. This is just AI junk. Is this not the president of Iceland though? I kind of want to watch that. Or is it not? Like, I'm worried that there's something like this. This is another 5 hours. I'm not watching all this tonight. There's no way, but I wanted to like learn about what's coming up in the game. The president?
So when I roam, I do PvP, but trying to be positive with it, the amount of people that have come up
has never, but really to tackle this big topic is something that every responsible society needs to do, and we are here to be the janitors of EVE Online, and we will have to figure this out like all other countries, and we thought it was very fitting to get help on that front, to kind of frame it in the in the right arena, to get the President of Iceland to give us her thoughts. This is also her first time at FanFest. She was elected between FanFests, so she will now maintain the tradition of part of the job of the President of Iceland is to talk to the capsuleers of EVE Online. So I am sure she will do a fantastic job. So please join me in welcoming on stage Halla Tómasdóttir, the President of Iceland.
I believe it does work on Linux, yeah. SBN, what's up, dude?
Congratulations again. Wow, wow, wow.
President of Iceland is here to talk.
You are a bigger country or community than all of Iceland. But I'll gladly take on the role to be your president as well, if you allow me. I understand that in some of the worlds, you will need to kill somebody, or I will need to kill somebody to stay in control. So I will go to the universe where you will democratically elect, I hope. But really welcome, everyone. Welcome to Iceland and welcome to FanFest. What an incredible community this is.
Skip to the keynote at the end. Okay, so maybe what we'll do is we'll watch this. And you said this is all AI stuff. This looks like it's a lot of like people just kind of wandering around and stuff. I don't know who this is. There's Erst, so he's talking about something. And you said that the talk at the end is the new expansion. So I don't know, like how long is the talk? How long is the talk about the new expansion? Rocky Mad Sky. How long is that talk? He talks about space essentially. Okay, so it's more astrophysics lessons. So who's the guy that's talking? You can see that. Because I already know that I'm probably not going to be able to watch all this tonight. I would like to see what's going on with the expansion. Let's hear what she has to
There are
say.
many places in the world where
The guy with the dotted shirt, he talks about the expansion. Okay, so that starts here. I'm assuming you're talking about this guy, I don't know what all this stuff. I mean, I don't know who she is, but I kind of like to watch it. The guy with the beard and the cat shirt. Okay, so I think you're talking about I think you're talking about this dude here. That's who you're talking about. Oh, that's Warlock for really for Warlock Industries. That's him? I've talked to him in Discord. I think I might actually want to watch that. I think he's Canadian, actually. I think he might be Canadian. I'm not positive. I might actually want to watch that then because I love his content.
thousands of people travel across oceans united by an online universe to discuss spaceships, virtual economies, diplomacy, strategy, and even the future of humanity itself. What an incredible universe this is. And EVE Online has never really been just a game. What began in Iceland in the 1990s with Hilmar and an incredible team
He wings
was
it
an
all?
ambitious
Are you saying it's
entertainment and
bad or
business
it's good?
venture, but eventually became something much, much larger. A living universe shaped by millions of human decisions, relationships,
I think
alliances,
his content is
conflicts,
amazing.
and
It's
stories,
unbelievably good.
just like the world. This is an extraordinary achievement because in many ways, the developers of EVE understood early on something that much of the world is only now beginning to fully grasp. Technology is never only about technology. Behind every line of code, every innovation, and every technological leap are human choices. Who is included? Who is excluded? What is amplified? And what is left behind? Technology is about people, but also about power, about creativity, and perhaps most importantly, about trust. It is about the systems we build together. And even more importantly, and sometimes forgotten, the values we embed within them. And that is why your community matters. We are entering a new era in the world, shaped by artificial intelligence, technology that is transforming how we work, create, communicate, govern, and imagine the future itself. It's changing everything. And naturally, much of the conversation we're having in the world, and probably here today, focuses on capability. What can AI do? How fast will it evolve? How powerful may it become? But I believe there are more important questions that need to be talked about as well. What kind of humanity will AI help us shape? Will these technologies deepen trust or division? Expand creativity or diminish it? Help people flourish or only optimize efficiency? On what we will focus will determine the outcome. And these are not just technical questions. They are fundamentally human questions, perhaps the most challenging questions we have faced in our lifetimes. And communities like yours have an important role in answering them, and I hope you take that on. Because virtual worlds are not escapes from society, at least not only that, they can be powerful testing grounds for society. Places where people experiment with cooperation, leadership, economics, ethics, identity, governance, and human resilience. Places where we learn that systems matter, they do, but people matter more. For more than 20 years, the EVE community has demonstrated the extraordinary power of imagination and technology placed in the hands of people who are determined to build something greater than themselves. This is worth celebrating. This is a worthwhile purpose. And it is so fitting that Iceland is a place for a conversation about this, how we build this new world, how we imagine it and how we build it. We are a small country, smaller than your universe, but we have long shown that creativity, curiosity, and human connection can have global impact. And in a time of rapid technological change, such values matter more than ever. The future will not be shaped by technology alone, although its impact.
This is boring. I thought it would be interesting to hear what she has to say. I don't care. Okay, so we want to skip ahead to who's this? Who is she?
Spend 12 months on board the International Space Station.
Talks about space stuff. Okay, we're going to skip that. I do want to watch Warlock Industries.
Maybe we have to play it on stream somehow, but I love the game. Like, those types of games are great, and the little models are fantastic. So if you play...
Actually, how long... So he's on for 20 minutes. So I've got time for Warlock Industries, and then the expansion. It looks like it starts at 7. And goes for half an hour. Or are the people that are talking after the expansion guy, are they talking about the expansion, or is it just more bullshit? Like, is it only 15 minutes on the expansion, or is everything after the polka dot hat shirt guy talking about the expansion? I'm trying to determine how much tonight I want to watch, and if we have to defer some of this to tomorrow, then we can do that. So is it just 15 minutes on the expansion, or is it like an hour and 15 minutes?
Eve, and you move those things around, it does something with you. It's like, it's not just like playing any other board game. It's like amazing.
And it's huge.
Okay, cool. But we're going to go to Warlock Industries.
Other people are Vanguard and Frontier. So to be honest, I would probably still watch that. I kind of want to hear what their plans are, particularly with Frontier, because I am kind of interested in Frontier. But the expansion is obviously what I want to watch the most. I think what I might do is maybe we end the stream here, and then tomorrow we will pick it up. We'll start with Warlock Industries, and then we'll jump forward to the expansion as people show up. And then we'll watch the Eve Frontier, the Vanguard stuff, because I'd kind of like to see what their plans are, if they're going to make Vanguard part of EVE Online again in the same universe, or not. And then we'll probably see if there's anything interesting that's happened with the second day. So how about we do that? We'll cut it here because it's already, well, past 2:30 in the morning here. Yeah, we will pick it up again with Warlock Industry. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there, guys. We're going to raid out to Mr. Joe Lost. For those of you that are WoW viewers, if you're interested in EVE, Joe Lost is now a good friend of the channel. He's IRL streaming at at this fan fest. So it looks like he's kind of setting up at a table right now and just chatting with people, but probably just getting ready for the day of streaming. But he's been kind of wandering around doing an IRL stream here, but he's one of the, decent content creators. He's very good, actually. Give him a follow. We will, let's see, right into his channel. And I will be back tomorrow. And don't worry, I'm not quitting World of Warcraft. We are going to get that Warlock up to 70, and then the plan is to raid with him. Stream once or twice a week, World of Warcraft. And then we are going to jump right back into EVE Online as well. So, but I wanted to get caught up in EVE Online really quickly. Get that Warlock leveled up. And then we will be jumping back into EVE Online very regularly. So have a good night, everyone. I'll talk to you guys later. 07's in the chat. Thank you for stopping in. I appreciate it. Thanks for the advice. No problem, dude. You got that link, right, with all the tutorials? Definitely take a look at that. Message me on Discord if you have any questions or anything like that, or just watch the stream, and I'll help you out as much as I can. And once I start streaming EVE Online again regularly, if you have any questions, I could very quickly show you in game how stuff is done, as long as I know how to do it. Anyways, have a good night, guys. Take care. Good night.